can make the world a better place. Light will shine from above if we will all just love in our own little way. We can make the world a better place. Ngayong Pasko'y pag-ibig ang kailangan ng daigdig. Kay ganda ng lahat if we will just love. Ngayong Pasko'y pag-ibig ang kailangan ng daigdig. Kay ganda ng lahat if we will just love. Ngayong Pasko'y pag-ibig ang kailangan ng daigdig.
Hello, hello. I-mute na lang eh.
All right. So good morning, everyone. Thank you for attending our second Misamis Occidental Coconut Industry Stakeholders Forum. So the time is 9:07. No? So we're about to start our second, as I mentioned a while ago, a second Coconut Industry Stakeholders Forum. So this will be a online teleconference via Zoom, and it will also be live on our Facebook page sa Philippine Coconut Tory Region 10. So here we have atong mga attendees for this morning. So allow me to acknowledge lang atong mga attendees sa Zoom meeting nato karon. We have from the municipality of Baliangao. I presume this is the Mau, no? We also have from Bonifacio. Thank you, sir, for attending. Mr. Diego T. Thank you very much for attending, no? DTI Misamis Occidental, no, si Jane, and DTI 10 Misamis Occidental, Trisha Jean Tan. So thank you very much, ma'am, for attending. We also have Erlene Suko, Faye S. Lasida, Sir Gadwin Handumon. We also have Ma'am Jacqueline Flores. No, we also have from LGU sa Pangdalaga and Mau of Bonifacio. No, and then we also have from Misamis Occidental, Sinikaban sa Agriculture's Office. Welcome, sir and ma'am. Of course, we also have the PAO for Misamis Occidental, no? And of course, here with us today, our Head Executive Assistant of the Philippine Coconut Authority, Mr. Roy Divesa. Welcome, sir. Also we have PDO4, Jose Danilo Ontalan. Good morning. From Baliangao, we have sa chat, Miss Giscora E. Catalan. Welcome, ma'am. We also have from LGU Panaon, sa Mau Bonifacio, I mentioned ago, no? Of course, we also have our farmer leaders, no? From the different municipalities in the province of Misamis Occidental. So welcome, sirs and ma'am, no? And also sa P. Binondo. So later on, we will have a formal acknowledgement of the participants. But for the meantime, may we start the program with an invocation to be followed with the Philippine National Anthem, with the invocation to be led by our Coconut Regulations and Production and Regulations Officer 3, Mr. Crispin Gamboa. So let's put ourselves in the whole presence of God.
Let's bow our head and put our mind into the presence of our Lord. Side of the cross, in the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Amen. Our most gracious and lovingly Heavenly Father, thank you this morning. Lord, bless us this event, the second Misamis Occidental Coconut Industry Stakeholders Forum. The purpose of this event is to address the current pressing concerns of the coconut industry in the province of Misamis Occidental, not only the province, but the entire regions. Lord, bless us. This event will be successful with the presence and guidance of the Holy Spirit. Please be us in Jesus' name we pray. In the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Amen.
right. So good morning once again. A pleasant morning for everyone. So we have a lot in store for this morning, no, during our coconut industry stakeholders forum. So we have in the
Siguro
pipeline,
muna
no,
ako na to.
the
Siya.
attendance of our head executive assistants later on, no, and he will be in the audience, no, with our honorable congressman, Mr. Diago T. of the First District of Misamis Occidental, as well as Mr. Gadwin Handumon of Paglaom MPC, and also for the Misamis Occidental as a whole, uh, Mr. Dennis Leopoldo will also be talking for the plans of the province of Misamis Occidental for the coconut industry. So I won't, without further ado, no, may we start with, may I call on our provincial coconut development officer or manager from Misamis Occidental, Mr. Roland Calio, for the introduction and the rationality of the stakeholders forum. So let's give him a big round of virtual applause. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Ram. Good morning, everyone. Good morning, and welcome to the second Misamis Occidental Coconut Stakeholders Forum. Now, this forum is or shall be dedicated to discussing issues in regard to the coconut industry, particularly during this time of pandemic. Now, this is our second. However, the first under the new normal. Okay, the first, and this is also a full virtual forum. Our first was in September of 2020, but that was face to face with only a very limited participation because of the observance of the minimum health protocols and because of the fact that we did not know yet how to run a virtual forum, in fact, until today. But thanks to the regional management through RM Manuel Octobre, because they are the ones facilitating it now, especially our project development officer too, Ralph Marcel Estanio of the region, who is also our host today. And today we are very lucky because no matter how busy his time is, he still finds time to be with us even for an hour. It shows his eagerness to reach out to as many stakeholders as there are in the coconut industry. And I am talking about our guest speaker, who shall be formally introduced in a while. Joining us also is the political representative of District 1 of Misamis Occidental, Congressman Diego Jigs P, who has, I think, good news for the coconut farmers in his district upon the soon to open big time market in his district, and he might be presenting his coconut industry plans for the district and the province as a whole. We have the general manager of the Paglaom Multipurpose Cooperative in Plaridel. At the same time, the National Anti-Poverty Commission, NAPSI Co-op Sector Commissioner, Gadwin Handumon. For information, the Paglaom Multipurpose Cooperative, or PMPC, was one of the investors of the Misamis Occidental first coconut processing center in Oroquieta City that also ventured baled coconut fiber exports to China. There were challenges along the way. And I think the general manager might discuss these challenges and may define some links where the government through the PCA could intervene. Joining us also is the Provincial Agricultural Officer, Dennis Leopoldo, who has the greatest interest of the coconut industry personally because he was once a COCOPED scholarship grantee during his college time. He might be presenting the coconut industry plans of the provincial government in relation to this COVID-19 pandemic. We are also very proud being joined by our ever supportive DTI, Department of Trade and Industry, with their provincial director, Ms. Jane Tabukan, along with her staff. The Provincial Agrarian Reform Office, represented by Mr. Leonardo Suco. We have attendees from the municipal agricultural offices of the different municipalities of the province. We have city agricultural officers of the three cities of Oroquieta, Misamis, and Tangub. and our very own Municipal Small Coconut Farmers Organization, or SCFO Federated Presidents, along and together with our agriculturists and coconut development officers in their respective areas. So to all of us, again, welcome to the Misamis Occidental Second Coconut Stakeholders Forum and first full virtual Coconut Stakeholders Forum. Good morning.
All right. Thank you very much, Sir Bong Calio of the PCA Misamis Occidental. So, we have a lot of participants. No, in fact, some of them are still coming in. No, right now. And also, I forgot to introduce myself. I am Ralph Marcel Estaño, the Project Development Officer 3 of Philippine Coconut Authority Regional Office 10. So, without further ado, let's move on to our next part of the program. Let me once again call our PCDM of Misamis Occidental, Sir Roland Calio, to introduce to us our honorable or guest speaker from the Philippine Coconut Authority. Yes, Sir Bong.
Okay, thank you, Ram. Again, good morning. I was supposed to introduce our administrator to be our speaker this morning. However, because of his time is so hectic, he will be he shall be represented by his representative. Anyway, our guest speaker for this morning is currently the head executive assistant of the Philippine Coconut Authority. Now, prior to his job, this current job, he was the commander of the Training and Doctrine Command of the Philippine Army before his compulsory retirement last September 2019. During his incumbency as commander, he developed and instituted the following institutional reforms and policies, one of which is the recognition or recognize the command headquarters and the different center schools to better address the training needs of the Philippine Army. First, he activated and organized the Combined Armed Center, and the all warfighting schools were placed under it to enhance Army Combined Operations training as called for in the Army operating concept and land power maneuver concept. The initial military training center was also organized to provide better and standard pre-entry training for officers and enlisted personnel. The conduct of basic military training was enhanced by developing a standard curriculum for both aspiring officers and ET. Second was to address the need for better leadership training for all officers and enlisted personnel throughout their military career. The Army Leadership Development and Education Trainer, or ALDEC, was enhanced by placing the Non-Commissioned Officer School under its control and supervision. New positional leadership trainings were developed to include the Squad Leader course, Platoon Sergeant course, and the First Sergeant course. For officers, pre-command courses for brigade and battalion commanders were also introduced, among others. And third is to improve the support and services. The Training Support and Service Center was also organized to ensure timely delivery of supplies, training materials, and training maintenance services. The TSSC, or the Training Support and Service Center, also addresses the need for transparent and efficient use of the command's limited resources. In addition, our speaker personally spearheaded the development of a force restructuring program for the Philippine Army, which is currently being developed by headquarters of the Philippine Army for possible implementation in the future. The Army force structure addresses the need to develop a lean and mean army that can win in today's operational environment. He started his military career in the Philippine Army as an infantry officer after graduating from the Philippine Military Academy in 1985. His specialties are in the fields of intelligence, operations, and civil military operations. He has occupied positions and received field and academic trainings in these fields. Our speaker attended foreign schoolings and achieved remarkable recognition for his performance. In 2005, he received a degree in Master of Military Art and Science, or MMAS, through a scholarship at the United States Army Command and General Staff College for Fort Leavenworth, Kansas, in the United States of America. At the same time, he took up the Command and General Staff Officer course, or CGSC, at said school, where he was also selected as the Chief of Staff of the International Officers class comprising of 88 Army officers from 78 countries. He finished the course with a thesis entitled An Assessment of the Philippine Counter-Insurgency Operations Methodology, published by the Biblio Scholar, United States of America in 2012. In 2011, he attended a year-long course at the National Defense University, or NDU, of the People's Republic of China in Beijing, for which he was conferred a diploma on defense and strategic studies. While at the NDU, he submitted several academic papers, which were also published by the school. Aside from his achievements abroad, our speaker took several schooling in the country. In 2013, he took the 18th executive course on national security at the National Defense College of the Philippines. In 2015, he received a scholarship from the Development Academy of the Philippines, where he earned a diploma in development management under the Public Management Development Program, or PMDP. A senior executive course, he completed the program with a capstone policy paper entitled Revisiting State Policies on the Role of the Armed Forces in the Internal and External Security Operations, focusing on AFP Modernization Program, internal security operations, and state policies affecting the armed forces of the Philippines, shifting from mainly internal to external security matters. His military education includes, among others, the Infantry Officer Basic and Advanced Courses conducted by the Philippine Army, where he received awards of academic excellence for graduating third and second highest in the class, respectively. Counterterrorism Workshop at the Ministry of Defense of Israel, Intelligence Officer Basic Course at the Special Intelligence Training School at the Intelligence Service, AFP, Governance and Management of Defense Course at the Cranfield University Royal Military College in Singapore, Whole of Government Seminar at the Defense Intelligence Training Center of Australia, and the Basic Public Affairs or Public Affairs Officer Course and Instructor Development Course at the United States Defense Information School in Fort Harrison, Kansas, in the United States of America. His first assignment was as a platoon leader of the Alert Company 5th Infantry Division from 1986 to 1991. He served as a platoon leader, company executive officer, company commander, and intelligence officer of the 54th Infantry Battalion. He was then assigned at the Counterintelligence Unit, Philippine Army in 1992. Later, he was assigned as Operations Officer of the Civil Relations Service and Chief of Plans and Policy at the Office of the Deputy Chief of Staff for Intelligence. Back in the field, he assumed position as the G3 Deputy Assistant Chief of Staff for Operations at 5th Infantry Division before assuming duties as Administrative Officer of the Office of the Commanding General, Southern Command in Mindanao. He was then appointed as the Executive Assistant of the Chief of Staff of the Armed Forces of the Philippines and later Group Commander of the Defense Intelligence and Service Group, the ISG. After his return from schooling in the United States, he was assigned as member of the faculty and concurrent the head of the Research and Special Studies Department of the Command and Staff School, TRADOC, Philippine Army. Shortly, he became the G3 Assistant Chief of Staff for operations of the 8th Infantry Division in Samar, and then G3 of the 5th Infantry Division before assuming command of the 50th Infantry Battalion in July 2007. In 2009, he was designated Chief of the Operations Control Division of the ODCSI J2. He went to study in China, and in his return, he was assigned as faculty and Chief of Staff of the Armed Forces of the Philippines Command and General Staff College. He then served as the Deputy Brigade Commander of the 606th Support Group, Philippine Army. He was later promoted to become the commander of the Training and Doctrine Command of the Philippine Army. His awards and decorations include the Philippine Legion of Honor, Degree of Officer, several Distinguished Service Star Medals, Bronze Cross Medals, Gawad sa Kaunliran Award, Sagisag ng Ulirang Kawal Award, Military Merit Medals, Silver Wing Medal, Long Service Medal, Military Civic Action Medals, Anti-Dissidence Campaign Medals, and ribbons. Disaster Relief and Rehabilitation Operations ribbons, Presidential Unit Citation Badge, Military Commendation Medals, and Combat Commander K Badge with 3 bronze stars. Further, our speaker has received numerous certificates of appreciation, letters of commendation, and awards of academic excellence from various offices, units, and institutions he has served. Our guest speaker is happily married to Attorney Franz Carpio de Besa, and they are blessed with 4 sons, Attorney Miles, Attorney Dicky, Rocky, and Elijah. Ladies and gentlemen, our guest speaker, the head executive assistant to the administrator of the Philippine Coconut Authority, former Major General of the Armed Forces of the Philippines, Roy De Besa. Sir.
Unmute, Bong.
Okay, sorry. Can you hear me now?
Yes, sir. Loud
Narinig
and
na po
clear.
ako.
Yes,
Alam?
po.
Yes, sir.
Thank
Yes,
you
sir.
very much for that. Very comprehensive introduction. For a while, I thought I am still in the active service. Tatawa tuloy si Congressman. So, akala ko magre-retire pa lang ako. Karamihan sa sinabi ni Roland, puro po sa military. But I'd like to assure yung mga participants dito na hindi lang po tayo sundalo, farmer din po tayo. Since I was a child, I remember when I was grade 3, no? Meron na tayo, nagtatanim na ako, no? May sarili tayong plot, meron tayong kung ano mga tinatanim. In fact, I am also a fisherman. Because for a while, I operated aquaculture in Pangasinan. No? When I was still much younger. Of course, I'm not old. So anyway, thank you, Roland. And of course, on behalf of the administrator of the PCA, I'd like to thank everybody for joining this provincial forum, no, of Misamis Oriental, no, tama. Of course, I'd like to thank the people here, si Congressman Diego T. ng Misamis. Thank you po for joining us. Magandang umaga po sa inyo dyan.
Salamat. Yung mga kapatid natin sa government, no? Yung national government agencies na nandito, thank you very much for your service and for your love of the country. Yung mga kapatid natin sa LGUs, no? Servants, yung galing sa non-government organizations or foundations na nandito na nagjo-join sa atin, yung Farmers Association organizations na nandito rin. Magandang umaga sa inyo lahat. Yung mga farmers, especially yung coconut farmers, because I know they are the ones who are very interested in this forum. Yung mga millers, yung mga producers, they are also a critical part of the supply chain for the coconut industry, mga traders, and of course, yung in general, yung Filipino people, no? Yung mga consumers, because eventually, or at the end of the day, sila yung bumibili ng mga coconut products natin, including yung coconut as a fruit. No? So, thank you po for joining us. No? Siguro ang unang tanong po ninyo is why PCA is doing this? Well, una-una, to give you a background there, no? In most recent times, medyo mabilis yung turnover ng leadership natin sa PCA, including of course sa DA, no, which is supervising PCA, and for a while medyo nag-slow down yung activities natin sa PCA. But right now we have a new leadership under, of course, the Department of Agriculture, Secretary Dar, and our administrator, si Chairman Regal. And since February, we have been doing a lot of things sa PCA with one foremost intention, to help the farmers and develop the coconut industry. We have been studying the problems confronting the industry. We have been dissecting the value chain. We have been studying specific sector in the industry, specifically the farmer sector, at of course yung millers, and of course the market. No? Tinitingnan natin why for a while parang nawala yung coconut. Parang na-relegate tayo, parang hindi tayo pinapansin. And nakita natin we need to revive the industry for compelling reasons. No? Number one, there are about 2.5 million farmers relying in the coconut industry. That's a lot of people, a lot of Filipino people. And you know, if you multiply that by 4, that's easily about 10 million people. No? Sinasabi natin 2.5 farmers, kung meron family yan, about 4, then you have 10 people relying in the coconut industry. And the coconut industry is one of the industry that supports the livelihood of the Filipino industries that we have. So hindi natin siya pwedeng tulugan. Yun ang nakita namin. At nakikita namin yung sinasabi nila na it's a dying industry is not true. No? Naniniwala tayo na the coconut is really the tree of life. Yeah. It goes with the tunes of the time. No? Yung sinasabi lang sustainability, environment friendly, and everything. Babalik po tayo ron. People will go back to coconut. Now, maraming challenges doon sa pagre-review po ng PCA confronting the industry, no? Policy level, fragmented industry, especially at the farmer sector, limited funds, and then of course yung physical natin, no? Difficulties natin, yung being an archipelagic country, medyo nakaka-apekto din yan doon sa industry. And there are a lot of things. So, ang ginawa po ng PCA, it continues to review all of these challenges and review the programs. Kasi may mga programs po siyang PCA, alam na mga farmers natin yan. At we have been doing all of this program for so many years. And yet, sabi nga namin, bakit hindi nag-i-improve? Or bakit marami pa rin stakeholders within the industry na naiiwan, no? Despite the industry being a billion dollar industry, bakit may naghihirap? So these are the big dollar question that we want to ask ourselves and of course answer it, no? Alam niyo po ang coconut industry is about almost $2 billion na, no? So if you convert that into peso, that's about siguro 80 billion pesos. That's not a small amount of money, no? So somewhere may kumikita, somewhere merong hindi kumikita. And sabi ko nga madaling tanong pero ang hirap solusyonan. But of course, hindi lang executive ang may ano diyan. Dito naman yung meron tayo dito from the legislative. And I'm sure they are also look into this. No? Bakit ganun yung nangyayari doon sa industry. So, at the level of PCA, no, being the government agency that is tasked to develop the coconut industry. So, we're looking into this. So, number one, tinitignan po namin yung charter ng PCA, yung regulatory powers niya. Kasi that's the number one authority that you have being in government. You regulate the industry so that it is equitable to everybody. So, ibig sabihin na you get your rightful share. Yung input mo, labor, everything, dapat kikita ka. No? Hindi naman pwedeng ang kikita lang si miller, si farmer, hindi nakikita. So, tinitingnan natin anong regulatory instrument ang pwede nating gamitin doon. No? Isa po yung tinitingnan namin. Second, we're looking into the market. Kasi for a while, especially kasi yung coconut natin, napakalaki ng export percentage natin, almost 80%. And yet, we're not developing new market opportunities in the international market. So, marami ng competitors, marami na pong players. You have Thailand, you have India, and of course, nandiyan na yung Malaysia and Indonesia, no? Yung mga share natin sa international market before, nakukuha na ng Thailand because they have a good market strategy and even good product packaging, no? So, ang isang direction natin in terms of trade and market is we want to explore new market opportunities. We want to enhance yung existing and or expand, no? And then strengthen the existing ones. So, alam nyo, yung industry cannot just produce and produce. You'll have to, because this is business, this is a you have to have demand. So kinakailangan we look for the demand domestically and of course internationally. So ginagawa po ng PCA yan. But it doesn't happen overnight. Yeah? So yung expectation natin, wag natin masyadong itaas. Nakala natin ito mangyayari na bukas. Kailangan lang dito you need a consistent policy, you need the sustained effort, and you have people having the right interest, mindset, following through. No? All of the sinasabi nga namin, isang problem again is continuity, no? Because of the past turnover in the government. But hopefully all of this will be solved. Ang isang ginawa natin, we were drawing up we're coming up with an industry roadmap para kahit sino papalit dito, you know, from the administrator to the deputy administrators to the regional managers, PCDMs, they will have something to follow. No? Babaguhin mo lang siguro contextually if, you know, the situation on the ground changes. But we're looking into that. of course, the number 3 thing that we are looking at is yung the programs that we provide to the farmers. Planting, replanting, fertilization, cocoa hub, so many things. PCA have been spending a lot of money for this, but we're reviewing the impact. Parang hindi natin nakikita. So tinitingnan natin, sino ba dapat magbe-benefit dito sa government program? No? Dapat ba isama natin yung laborer? Sama ba natin si tenant? O dapat yung landowners lang? For so many years, lahat ng program natin napupunta sa landowners. No? People that have 0.5 hectares and above. And yet, nakikita natin, a majority of these 2.5 million coconut farmers are still living below the poverty. Dinadissect natin bakit ganon. We found out na out of these 2.5 million farmers, you have almost half are tenants, landless, laborers. So kahit na anong gawin natin pala dito, hindi natin sila maisasalba. So we have to find a new intervention program specifically for these people. At mamaya, pag medyo elaborate ko ng konti because this will require the help of the LGU. We cannot do it at the national level. That's one thing we want to tell you, no? Ito, kami pumasok po dito, we're saying is we do not know everything or we cannot do it alone. Kailangan empower natin yung local. Kailangan empower natin yung farmers themselves. Because the end state of all these activities should be an industry that is run by the farmers themselves, by the millers themselves. It should be a sustaining industry that doesn't require government support. And if ever, it will just be in the form of regulations and policies. And of course, if there be people left behind, hindi mo na-empower lang sabay-sabay, and then you specifically address the concerns of these people. But eventually, hopefully within 5 years, lahat ng players dito sa coconut industry are empowered and are earning, and therefore yung we will not depend on government support only. No? Ibig sabihin sila mismo kikita because ang sabi nga namin, there is money in this industry. So tinitingnan po ng PCA yung tatlo na yon, yung tatlong malalaking bagay na yon, and to be able to do that, we have embarked on initially, number 1, internal transformation. So meron pong transformation ng PCA. Ito tingin namin kinakailangan, no? At I think yung mga tao sa PCA, they also recognize that we need to transform PCA. Sabi nga namin, hindi lang sa PCA, in all the whole of government. Pag hindi mo transform yung mga government agencies, they will just do the same thing and they'll expect different result. So what is that? No? Sabi nga nila. So kailangan ayusin muna natin internal. So wala namang masama dyan. No? It is recognizing that you always have to capacitate not just the organization, no? Yung mga tao nga sa ibang bansa, they always recognize that they need to transform themselves. They have to improve themselves. They have to capacitate themselves. So PCA will do that. And it will focus on 3 things also para hindi masyadong shotgun yun natin. Number 1, organizational values. No? We want to have an organization that have these good values. Number 1, of service. Kailangan pag nandito ka, ang thinking mo, you're serving the people, not the people serving you. Dapat dito may commitment ka ng konti. No? If you have to work overtime, then you will have to work overtime. Before complaining. Kasi pumasok na, dapat gagawin namin yung binolunteer namin dito. Hindi yung pupunta ka dito, tapos nag-expect ka lang ng sweldo, tapos magreklamo ka pagka pinag-overtime ka ng konti or nahirapan ka ng konti. So we want to change the value. We want the people to be here to be more honest, no? Mahirap gawin. Kahit tayo individually, we cannot be, sabi nga nila, cannot be totally honest. But you know, more honest, that is a much better word, no? Kasi yung trust, yung trustworthiness na organization, nagre-rely sa people who are honest, no? Pagka hindi tayo honest, yung mga stakeholders natin will not trust us, sabi nga nila. So, yun ang organizational values na gusto natin gawin. Second, we are improving the internal processes in PCA. Kasama na po dyan yung project management system po ng PCA. So, tinitingnan namin yung approval ng mga projects from the ground, and then including yung regular review and monitoring to make sure na nangyayari yung programs according to the objectives and according to time, and it is being executed efficiently and effectively. Kailangan may konting accountability. So yun yung purpose ng program review and monitoring. Hindi shotgun. Yung sinasabi natin. Lahat ng gagawin natin, merong responsible people down to the ground level doon sa project management system. Hindi naman lang for purposes of being setting accountability. Yan din para makita natin na yung project implementation is running smoothly and is achieving the intended impact. Kasi for a while, wala po kaming sistema na ganyan. So, pag tinanong mo, ano na nangyari sa program na to, hindi ka na rin masagot. Definitely, that should not happen in any government. No? Kasi sabi nga, we're spending people's money here. And then, of course, yung third aspect of the transformation, yung knowledge management. We're trying to computerize everything here. Number one, so that there be transparency. Para hindi na itatago yung records. So, financial transparency through automated platform, project management, through automated applications. Yung registry po natin, itong farmers registry, masyadong maraming tanong dito. So, ito, i-computerize natin. We will make it available for viewing by concerned people so that, hindi may third party na pwede na sabihin, ito, hindi naman to farmer. Bakit nandito to? So, to a certain extent, we're going to involve the private sector, local government, in all of this. Of course, there is a boundary to that, no? Yung Privacy Act. At as far as the law will allow it, we will be transparent in everything. Yan po yung sinisigurado namin sa lahat ng stakeholders in the coconut industry. So, yun yung internal na ginagawa po CA, and external, of course, yun nga, sinabi ko, is yung industry. And we're starting with, conducting. Want to know what's happening on the ground, how people feels, how they think should happen, how it should happen, and when it should happen. And then we can marry all of these opinions, this knowledge, these advices from all sectors, and then we can have a much better program for the farmers. Yung program po natin ngayon, hindi po ito-drawing ng isang tao, it will be consultative. So magkakaroon tayo ng mga project teams that will be dealing with coconut farmers, cooperatives, and they will draw the plan themselves. Of course, the technical support will be provided by PCA, especially for example, making business plan, making market study, doing the area study, so on and so forth. Have all of this, no? Hindi po kasi isang o 10 million na approvean, and then after a while magpe-fail. Nakita na natin yung waste of money na nangyari po dyan. Ang dami nating tinayong nag-request ng wire machine, binigay natin almost 100. Because there was no market study, there was no business plan. So babad po na
Hello, Ram.
I think Sir Heya is experiencing some technical difficulties. He's back now. So I'll ask him to unmute po. Sir Heya, welcome back.
yeah, okay na? Nakabalik na ba ako?
Yes po.
Okay na. Are we back?
Yes po, loud and clear po.
Dito na tayo. Sige, thank you. Na-interrupt tayo ng konti. Ito yung difficulty ng nasa COVID tayo, no? Hindi po tayo makababa. Gusto sana namin bumaba dyan para matikman natin yung merienda nyo yan. Mukhang masarap yung merienda nyo po dyan. At saka na lang, pag may vaccine na po tayo, pupunta po tayo dyan at maglalakad tayo kasama ng mga tao natin dyan. Let me just go back, no? Yung para, this is just to assure. I know masyado mataas yung expectation ng mga farmers natin, especially with the, the news on the impending approval of Coco Levy. We have to make these people, the coconut farmers, to trust us. So we really have to do a lot of things. No? Sinasabi ko po yung principles that will govern how programs will be developed in PCA. No? Hanggang doon sa mga project teams natin. Yung project teams natin will be led by the PCDMs, CDOs. No? Sila po yung ite-train natin to do this. So number one, sabi po natin, we're going to consolidate. We're consolidating. No? So consolidation is the number one principle. Nakita natin fragmented po yung industry natin at the farmers level, the lower sector, the production level. Hindi makapag-compete yung mga farmers natin with half hectare to 1 hectare. They fall into the trap dun sa fragmented market na yan at the mercy of the traders. No? Because the millers, they want to be assured that a certain volume and continuing supply na napakalaki, hindi kaya na isang farmer. So and ayaw nilang kausapin yung too many farmers. So nangyari, you have multiple traders, consolidators. So nawawalan eventually yung farmers. So the key here is consolidate coconut communities. Kahit coconut lang. Ibig sabihin yan, if you're a farmer, you can consolidate with an organization yung coconut crop mo lang. You can have your own intercrop, you can have your own other agricultural products, including yung mga chicken mo dyan o whatever, kung meron ka. Pwedeng, depende sa arrangement doon sa area, they have just to consolidate coconut into a community. Kailangan po natin ng sizable or scale that can answer to the needs of the industry. Medyo pagka ang level natin is local or domestic or yung sasabi nilang barangay level, pwede yung 0.5 pero you can only earn so much, no? You can hindi natin explore yung other markets. So consolidation is going to happen starting next year. PCA will provide incentive programs for coconut communities that are able to consolidate to a scale that would be able to support the other sector in the industry. So kung may miller dyan, kung kailangan nating put up, doon sa mga areas na may miller, they can deal with this organization directly. So direct buying from the miller to the farmer community or coconut community. Either it's a cooperative or corporative or whatever setup they find it appropriate for them. Ang problema kasi natin, regionally, iba-iba po yung culture natin. So hindi natin pwedeng sabihin, isa lang dito, one size fits all. Sa IP, iba din yung kaugalian nila ron. So depende kung ano yung arrangement. No? As long as there is consolidation that is workable with the millers, then we can deal with that. So ang incentive naman na sinasabi natin dito is, kung wala kang miller, if you have an island big enough to put up a mill, then yun yung lalagyan natin ng coco hub. Coco hub will not be an investment coming from the private sector, but PCA can finance that because we have this coconut hub project, and eventually the farmers group, association or cooperative will own that factory or that hub, no? So, pero kailangan nga, yun nga sinasabi natin, mag-consolidate. Pagka walang assured raw materials, mamamatay yung business. And then PCA will link that scale or that association to the market. Hanapan natin yan, i-establish natin. And then titingnan natin kung ano yung other opportunities. What appropriate type of products are they going to produce in particular area para may market tayo, domestic and international market. Kung industrial capacity yung kaya nyo i-produce sa Misamis, for example, ito, ang balita ko, yung Misamis, napakarami palang buko rito. Tama ba yun, Roland? Malaking dito, production base natin. So, alam mo, it's a challenge. I do not know if the government of Misamis can do that. No? If they can consolidate the whole coconut, all the coconut plantation there, coconut lang, and then they can put up their own industrial milling and tie it with a market, international, in Europe. Then, yung buko natin dyan, hindi hinihintay lang bumagsak dahil talagang may pupuntahan. Actually, binigay na rin natin yung challenge to other LGUs. No? And we would like to cite an example of one of the successful is Alabat. Alabat, Quezon, nag-initiate ng hub doon is LGU. Now, it doesn't have to be always like that. No? Pwede namang cooperative. Similar to water district in the locality, no? Ang ano pa rin is the LGU, but it is run by a board of directors. No? It can, similar to electric cooperatives, pwede rin ganon. Maraming option, walang one size fits all. Basta sabi nga po namin, magpipit doon sa culture, sa custom sa mga tao dyan, we can work with them. Ganun na sinasabi natin, Roland. No? So, malaki. So, pag may additional money tayo kung coco levy, even yung mga inaccessible coconut plantation, pwede pa natin lagyan ng mga farm to market road dyan later siguro. Yeah? Kasi may pupuntahan. Yun ang sinasabi natin, may pupuntahan. Hindi naman tayo mag-i-invest sa something na wala namang pupuntahan at alam natin mag-fail kasi wala naman siyang market. Yeah? So this is a market-driven industry. So second, dapat lahat ng programs natin inclusive. Inclusive growth, hindi trickle down. Hindi yung kumikita lang si miller tapos si farmer, hindi, no? So titingnan natin how we can work closely with everybody, all the stakeholders, to make sure na yung growth will be inclusive. Walang maiiwan dito. Now, third, empowerment. Now, this is something that PCA will start to do. So, meaning, itong mga technology that we have sa PCA, hybridization, even yung mga machineries natin, mga ganyan, we will roll them out para yung mga farmers makinabang dito. No? Nag-imbes ang government dito to discover it. Hindi naman natin dapat itago. No? Kasi parang yung, naalala niyo yung rice na pinag-uusapan, every time nung bata ako sa'yo, naririnig ko. Ang daming rice technology na de-develop natin dahil hindi naman na-roll out locally, napunta pa sa ibang bansa yata. So we do not want this happening. So PCA will be open. It will roll out the technologies that it has developed so that farmers will be able to acquire it and then eventually use it. Of course, yung other programs namin po dito sa PCA will be downloaded to the communities. So even yung yung production po ng seedlings for planting, a larger portion of that i-outsource na natin sa pwedeng barangay, pwedeng cooperative, pwedeng individual investor na may farm. Hindi na kami lang magtatanim, no? Ibibili na natin sa farmer, it will be a business by itself. I-outsource natin and then we will give these plants to those who really need it, doon sa mga tutulungan natin. So magkakaroon na economic activity. Magkakaroon na mag-i-infuse ng money yung PCA, at the same time, hindi lang money but the technology mata-transfer doon sa community, and then eventually, even yung production ng mga seed nuts will be done at the local level. Ganun ng empowerment na gusto natin mangyari. The continuing research will be done by PCA, and then pag may mga improvements, ibibigay din po natin yan locally. Yan ang magiging direction natin. Of course, another principle is everything that we do in the industry should be sustainable. No? Yan ang trend globally. Yung mga ibang countries, they do not buy products that they think are not sustainable or destroy the environment. So, and coconut tree is the prepared product now, no? Because it is they see this as a sustainable industry. Alam nyo, kung maalala nyo, may palm oil. Palm oil has been competing with coconut oil. Ang mass production ng palm oil is from Malaysia and Indonesia. Kaya lang, yung mga consumers sa Europe, nakita nila yung degradation ng mga forests in these countries. And the reason daw, they are now limiting importing palm oil. And they are sending people here to develop our own industry because I think they prepare to import coconut rather than palm oil. And this will be a trend that will continue, I think, no? If we are able to exploit this. Otherwise, pag tinulugan natin, matatalo na naman tayo rito. So, yun ay ipupursun natin. Sustainable. And then eventually, organic. The last keyword. No? Coconut industry will be organic. Yun yung hinahanap ng mga consumers natin. Yan din yung eventually na magiging anywhere in the world. Pag sinabi mong coconut, Philippines yan kasi organic. Yun yung brand na gusto po nating itatak sa buong mundo. That we have the best organic coconut in the world. Pagka yan sigurado ko, buhay na tayo rito. Sa atin nakukuha lahat yan. At yung industry natin will be profitable. Okay? So, wag natin ihiwala yung word na productivity sa profitable. Hindi pwedeng productivity tayo or productive tayo and yet hindi naman tayo profitable. Now, remember, this is, sabi nga po ni Secretary Dar, agribusiness. We are into business. We are not just into planting. We are into agribusiness po. So, yan yung gagawin ng PCA. Now, sinasabi natin, simple lang, sinisimplify natin, no? sa paningin natin, but this is difficult. So, madali siya, hindi siya complex, but it will be hard. It will be difficult, to be able to achieve the intended results. And hindi po kaya nang gawin ng PCA, the reason why ini-engage na po natin lahat ng sector, lahat ng stakeholder dito sa industry, and kami naniniwala na sila ay interesado, no? Nihintay lang nila yung PCA. Siguro dati hindi tayo ganun ka-open, but now we're trying to open the doors for everybody. So, iyan po in short yung encapsulized form, yun yung ginagawa po ng PCA. And we will translate all of this from the national to the regional to the LGU. Walang saysay yan pag hindi po kami bumaba sa LGU. At kami naniniwala with the support ng ating mga governors, congressman, of course, yung mga workers natin, co-workers natin sa government, yung mga nasa NGAs, LGUs, and especially the farmers, magwawagi po tayo. So, on behalf of the people at PCA, down to our CDOs, and everybody, pati driver and everything, lahat yan importante. Magandang umaga po at mabuhay kayo dyan lahat sa Agusan. Sa Misamis. Mabuhay po kayo. Thank you, Roland, that I will be staying for the question and answer kung meron. Thank you.
Yes po. Thank you very much, Heya. So let's give a big round of applause po. Yan, virtual clap muna kasi new normal nga, ika nga. So, yun, a while ago, Heya, mentioned a holistic approach, in the development of the coconut industry, which does not only involve our coconut industry players, but also our coconut farmers and the prospect of market. And of course, ang pinaka-important is yung internal transformation of PCA. So, ika nga niya, productivity in tandem with profitability. So, exciting po, di ba? Na especially now that we have started rolling out these changes. So, speaking of exciting, Heya, in the interest of time, we have 3 guests who would like to have a word with you po, and talk about their plans and perhaps their proposals for the industry here in the province of Misamis Occidental. So, first off, I would like to formally introduce the Congressman of the 1st District of Misamis Occidental, Honorable Diego C. T. Sir?
Thank
A round of
you.
applause, please.
Thank you. Good morning, everyone. Magandang umaga po. Thank you for inviting
Good morning po.
our pangalawa na stakeholders meeting, and to Major General Roy De Pesa, sir. Saludo po ako sa inyo ni General Benjamin Madrigal. Nakikinig po ako sa programa nyo kanina. I was very impressed, starting from the consolidation, yung incentive ng mga farmers, productivity, profitability. So sir, ang Congress po,
Kasama niyo po kami sa
yes, nasa likuran niyo po ang Congress. Isa lang po.
Wala yata.
Hello? Naririnig pa ba ako? Okay pa ba? May nabanggit si Major General Roy De Besa about organic. Parang nasobrahan noon ang pagka-organic ang coconut industry natin. Kasi pinapababayaan na po ng farmers yung nature na ang magpabunga. Walang ginagawa ang mga farmers. So dapat pagtutunan natin ng pansin to, na organic din pero with the support from the farmers. Siguro ang task ko ngayon is to report to you what's going on in Congress. So yun ang trabaho ko siguro. As you all know, nabeto ni Presidente yung first bill na pinasa natin. Kasi sabi ni Presidente, may mga provisions doon na unconstitutional. Tsaka meron mga measures, vital measures, preventive measures na hindi na ipasok. Kailangan baguhin kasi parang sa tingin ni Presidente, baka maabusuhan ng pera, baka mapapunta lang doon sa very wealthy coconut landowners. So, kaya bineto ni Presidente, as of today, i-report ko lang, una i-report ko, magkano ba ang pera? Ang pera, ang cost niyan ng Coconut Levy Trust Fund is more than 76 billion pesos cash nasa National Treasury. Tapos meron pa, hindi lang yan, meron pang 300 billion worth of properties, assets na pwedeng ibenta. Pag naibenta yon, na-convert ito cash, i-deposit sa Coconut Levy Trust Fund. Laking pera. General, meron na kayong equipments tsaka ammunition para sa giyera ng coconut industry. Nakatari, pero ang pinasok nyo naman ngayon, yung bago nyo task ngayon, i-gera lang po, a war against poverty ng coconut farmers po. Nasa likod nyo po ang Congress. So sa ngayon po, ang ating pong Senate na-approve na nila on the third reading, ang bago nilang ang binago nila, they crafted a new Senate bill on Coconut Levy Trust Fund. Ang sa Congress naman po, we promise po na we committed na before the end of this year, before ho kami mag-Christmas break this December 19, tapos na po yan sa third reading. Ang ang commitment ng Congress, kasi isa po sa one of the authors of this bill, 6 po na bill ang pinasa. Kaya po ang ginawa ng Congress, nag-consolidate kami, ginawa naman into one bill, pinasok namin lahat ng provisions. Isa po sa author dito is yung dati nating our former speaker, si Alan Peter Cayetano. So very very important po ang bill na to. So as of today po, nasa first reading, tapos na po tayo. Ang importante lang po ng Congress, ang tinitingnan lang po natin na talaga po ang pera na to ay makakapag-increase. This will increase, ang tatlong objectives lang ang inihanap ng Congress. Number one, it will increase the income of the coconut farmers. Yun ang pinaka number one. Number two, ma-alleviate sila poverty. Ma-promote sila, ma-levels yung social equity natin dito. Kasi ang farmers po ang pinakamahirap. Pinakamalaking income ng coconut farmers is only 2,000 pesos a month. So kailangan nilang mag-divert, kailangan nilang may ibang hanap buhay. So pangatlo po, kailangan po natin na ma-modernize, rehabilitate ang ating coconut industry. Lalo na yung sinabi mo, General, yung market, di ba? Market driven dapat. So, di ba? Kailangan productivity, focus tayo sa production, wala naman tayong profitability. So, yun ang mga kailangan tinitingnan ng Congress na dapat meron tayong mga safety precautions. So, I just want to assure the Philippine Coconut Authority, the coconut farmers, na ang Congress po, mga congressman po, we are looking after your welfare. Ang welfare po ng coconut farmers ang tinitignan natin. This coconut levy fund can never be used other than for the benefit of our coconut farmers and the development of our coconut industry. So, sir, meron na akong i-report sa PCA. And I will be asking for help sa iyo po, General Hea Roy, and to our Administrator, Lieutenant General Benjamin Madrigal. Patutulong po ang Misamis Occidental sa iyo. Kasi just recently po, a very big coconut production company just called me na may go signal na sila sa establishment ng isang planta dito sa Plaridel, Misamis Occidental. Ito po ay Peter Paul Philippines. They will be arriving this December 9 together with their technical persons, ang architect nila, engineers, kasi gusto nila mag-umpisa sa construction. Ang home base po nila ay nasa Quezon Province, Candelaria, Quezon. Meron silang branch din sa Sorsogon. And sila po ang number one worldwide producer of virgin coconut. Study na po na pwede itong prevention sa COVID-19. So, ang laki ng expectation ng coconut industry nila sa coconut industry. Sila po number one sa supplier ng desiccated coconut. Number one po sila dyan. Tapos nagsusupply po sila and Coca-Cola, coconut water. So lahat po ng produkto ng isang niyog nasa kanila lang po. Patutulungan ko sa iyo, General. Number one po, kung pwede po ba, sir? Number one po, baka pwede yung makonvince ang Peter Paul kasi willing na sila. Pero hindi pa yun 100% sure. Bumili na po sila ng lupa dito sa Misamis Occidental, particularly Plaridel, 5 hectares lahat, bumili na po sila. Baka po pwede makausap niyo po from the leadership, ang commitment po, natutulong sila sa supply. Tapos maririnig pa ba ako na parang nawawala yata? Okay pa ba? Okay pa. So,
Yes po,
sir,
loud and clear.
from the leadership of the PCA, baka pwede matulungan niyo ako ma-convince natin ang management ng Peter Paul. Although sabi nila almost 100 approved na ng board of directors, no. Pangalawa po, baka matulungan natin ma-improve yung fertilization natin kasi po tulad ng sabi ko kanina, sobrang natural po ang sobrang organic po ang ating ng coconut. Napapabayaan po ng farmers, wala po tayong fertilizer na nagagamit ang mga farmers natin. So para yun ang sa tingin ko po yun ang immediate solution sa supply kung kasi ang kailangan nilang supply is about 20,000 metric tons a year. Tapos ito kami natin kailangan na supply. So, kailangan ho natin ng massive tree planting, coconut tree planting. Sir, ayaw po ni breed coconut. Dito po sa area na Occidental, focus po tayo dun sa tall. Kasi ang hybrid po ay mas liit konti. Hindi po kasi yung makina nila para sa mga gamit nila. So, yun ang explanation nila. Mas preferred nila yung original natin na produce dito sa Misamis Occidental. So, coconut po dun sa mga senile, yung mga very old coconut trees na kailangan mag-replanting po tayo. So, sir, ang ganda po ng balita niyan for the Misamis Occidental, but we need your all-out support po. Not for us, no? Kasi tayo po, magkatulong po tayong tutulong para sa mga farmers po. Yun lang po ang gusto kong ipaabot sa PCA. And I am also with mga saka sir, baka pwedeng magpalitan tayo ng cellphone number, magkontakan tayo para i-personalize natin ang support natin sa mga coconut farmers. Maraming salamat po. Hanggang doon lang po ang report ko and I will be staying until the duration of your meeting. Thank you po.
Thank you po, Congressman. Very reassuring word po. No? And thank you for the support of the Congress. Na-anticipate po namin na mangyayari na yung approval in the soonest possible time. Medyo mataas na rin yung expectation ng mga tao. At our end, tuloy-tuloy po din yung ginagawa namin. Actually, yung registry po natin, nililinis na po natin yan. At part of the transparency effort natin. Yung sinabi niyo po, tutulong po tayo ron. We'll inform our administrator and we will talk with Peter kasi Peter Paul management, palagi naman natin sila nakakasalamuhan rin. At titingnan natin kung anong pwede namin maitulong doon sa kanila at our end, government ends, para ma-fast track yung kanilang plano na magputa po ng dyan, no? Maganda dahil kung lahat ng produkto ng coconut magagawa, the better. Ang option diyan, yung mga iba pa na excess na hindi naman nila sasakupin, pwedeng ibigay natin sa local. Pwedeng hub na tatayo ng LGU or ng with the PCA help para wala talagang sayang, no? Pag pinitas natin yung buko, lahat po magagamit natin from the house. Roland, paki-monitor mo nga lang itong developments na to. At tingnan mo din at the local level kung ano yung predicament ng although sabi nga ni Congressman 100% na to. But just to reassure them of PCA support, no? Alam naman natin yung mga concern nila diyan pagdating sa putting up business. may mga ano yan, may mga concern yung assurance of supply, yung quality ng supply, consistency, no? So, tingnan na rin natin sinasabi ni Congressman Television. The ano here is key nga dito is we are consolidate community that can produce at the minimum yung 20. Sabi ni Congressman, 20,000 metric ton. No? Direct buying para mas mataas-taas yung presyo pag nakarating sa miller. And we will also be, actually may plan na rin kami to talk to all millers to address yung concern ng farmers natin in terms of yung pricing. Pinag-aaralan na ng board to kung ano yung gagawin natin. Thank you po, Congressman. Marami pong salamat sa tulong niyo po.
In addition, General, may nabanggit ang may-ari si Joey Kimson regarding the fair trade membership nila worldwide. Whatever proceeds, kung meron daw ibabalik sa farmers, yun daw ang agreement doon. Tapos priority talaga nila yung organic products kasi doon sa virgin coconut oil required talaga yung organic na produkto nila. So doon kami patutulong sa iyo sa PCA leadership po.
Sige po. Yung fair trade is now being observed globally. Kaya nga ito yung sinasabi ko as part of the ano po natin na development, no. Yung natin na hindi sustainable may maiiwan. Sa fair trade kasi maraming countries dito na naapektuhan kasi nga sa tingin ng mga buyers sa first world especially, no. Pag tingin nila yung mga may isa sector, kuwari farmer sector na abuse, for example, child labor yung ginagamit sa coconut farming, or yung rightful share nila or equitable share hindi na ibibigay. So ino-observe na yan. So ito po, we'll be working with the millers. Sila naman to ano din sila, they agree with this fair share concept at saka yung sustainability concept. Sige po.
And they also mentioned General that they will be buying direct to the farmers cooperative. Hindi po sila dadaan sa mga middlemen. So nabanggit din po yan kanina yung di ba may nabanggit kang incentive for the dapat consolidate. So banggit mag-contact mo.
Sige po.
Na mangrekta
Nawawala na Roland na-put na rin di ba?
I think Congressman Diego T is also experiencing technical difficulties po, no, sa internet connectivity po ata. So perhaps later we can have a I think he's back, Sir Congressman.
Yeah. Nabanggit ni nawawala din siya ata siya. Pero Roland, tingnan natin based dun sa yung program na roll out natin next year, yung programs natin na farming, planting, fertilization will be used as incentive for people who will consolidate. So kung makapag-consolidate sila dyan into sizable groups na kayang i-produce yung bigger production, doon natin itatay yung natin program. So we'll be kakapacitate na natin sila sa group. Kasi nakita na natin yung difficulty of pagka if you have 0.5, talaga may limit eh. You can only grow so much if you are 0.5 1 hectare. May may limitasyon. But if they are as a community, kahit coconut lang yan, mas magiging productive, mas magiging maganda yung kita nila at saka production. So even yung training natin, yung how they'll be certified as organic, isang grupo na lang para uniform ang technology na ibibigay natin. No, Roland, ganun ang gagawin natin.
All right. So I think let's move on sa next part po ng ating program. Yun nga, sinabi ni ano no ni Congressman kami na exciting po siya kasi may big company, yung number one producer, yung Peter Paul, no? Number one producer of VCO, virgin coconut oil and desiccated, no? To be established in Plaridel, Misamis Occidental. So December 9 po yung visit daw nila. And of course, yung sinabi ni Congressman yung sa third reading na po yung ano Coconut Trust Fund bill. And then by the end of 2020, so 2020, no, we can expect developments. And of course, the fertilization of coconut trees, no, yung primary need po ngayon ng Misamis Occidental. So up next po na gusto makig one-on-one po kang Heya is si General and Commissioner of Paglaom Multipurpose Cooperative. Allow me to welcome Mr. Gadwin Handumon. A round of applause, please.
Good morning. Maayong buntag sa tanan. May salute to Congressman Nonoy. Mas maganda yun, Kong, kasi big scale, support to the coconut industry. To the Chief Head Executive Assistant of the Administrator, sir. Good morning, sir. I remember during way back late 20, early 2020s or 2020s when General Madrigal was assigned also in Cagayan de Oro in the 44th IB, something like that. And I was also a member also of the Regional Development Council. I am no longer the sectoral representative in the national, but I'm representing now the region for the National Anti-Poverty, but on transition period. I was appointed during that time of President Pinoy and just called over by President Duterte when he won the election in 2016. Sir, my concern is just kung sabi ko kay Bong, hindi ako preparado sa presentation ko, but your men and PCA Misamis Occidental are really working PCA personnel in Misamis Occidental, sir. I can vouch to that also because they are very kugihan kayo nila, sir. I've heard a lot also of miracles to happen in PCA, especially on you emphasize the organizational values, no? Not only just receiving salaries but the service para sa bayan talaga. I would like to share there's a lot also of frustration in our case when we organized the coconut processing way back in 2007. It was an initiative with the support from PACAP, no, Philippine Australian Community Assistance Program. We were able to have the fertilization in the community for the coconut industry. We had also the replanting, and we conducted also communities focus on community projects like water system, and there was also a processing plant. It was organized by the co-ops with the support of the LGU and the private sector. But unfortunately, I would say, sir, it was a failure because during that time, there's really a lacking on something like working capital and technical support. No, last shipment in China, there was a problem of payment also because there was also a bickering of the relationship between the Philippine government and the Chinese government during that time. So nagka-problema with our Chinese investment also, hindi nabayaran, something like that. Ang dami talagang mga pagkukulang nun sa Kaya nga, ang status ng processing is totally nag-collapse talaga ang corporation. It was a corporation, organized as a corporation, no, with the cooperatives. So maganda talaga triumvirate sana. So I think, well, I would say there was a less support from the PCA during that time, no. I don't remember nga may funding na galing sa PCA. So that is why I said to Bong na talagang hindi ka makapag-home run kung first base lang ang talaga ang suporta. So yun talaga ang ko na strengthen talaga ang research and development and the technical support. We always emphasize that the farmers are the vulnerable vulnerable sector. That is why when I was in the National Anti-Poverty Commission, they commissioned me to support also other sectors, especially the farmers and the fisher folks for the cooperatives, because I'm representing also the cooperative sector. No, so in terms of sustainability, I can showcase that one of our I think Congressman Nonoy T can attest to that. We started our co-op with only 2,000 pesos, but I'm proud to say that Paglaom Co-op is now 1.4 billion in total assets. So we can say that, but that's focus on the savings and credit and other agri-dev program of the cooperative. So kulang talaga kami in terms sa technical know-how. How are we going to support the coconut farmers? So that is why when we had also a meeting with Bong, yung sa Kaani program namin, na magiging consolidator kami. Pero kasi nag-stop na ang operation namin, and then yung mga farmers naman na binibigyan ng decorticating machine, ang problema nila is working capital and so also sa market. So paano sila kung nag-produce ng fiber, wala namang market, no? So yun ang pinakaano natin sa baba. Yung grassroots program natin, yung livelihood program for the coconut farmers. So how are we going to do this convergence on this, on the balik tayo sa community organizing, continuing technical support for the farmers kung gusto nating matulungan talaga natin sila. So yun naman talaga ang gusto ni Presidente, tulungan ang mga mahihirap, pero paano? So I think we need really a truly convergence support from the different organizations, not just a lip service support, but an approach. It's a holistic approach or a whole-based approach na talagang from first base hanggang home run talaga ang magawa natin. So yun talaga, sir, ang ano ko, we are, I don't know if we are going to revive. I hope Administrator Madrigal, who is also my very good brother in the fraternity of Mason, I hope pwede kayo makapunta dito para makita talaga ninyo at saka makita nyo ang sitwasyon sa mga projects namin na nag-failure, no? So wala kaming sabihin na successful, but we have experience working with the farmers na nakaproblema talaga kami, and we need also intervention from your side, from the PCA. We need miracles from PCA. So I think yan lang sana, sir, ang ano namin ipaparating ko sa inyo. But we are always willing to support the coconut industry, the coconut farmers, because we have a lot of co-op members also who are the cocoa farmers in the area. Thank you, sir.
Okay, maraming salamat po, Mr. Godwin, for that. Alam niyo po, sa pakikipag-usap natin, yung predicament about yung success ng mga cooperatives natin, palaging lumalabas. At sabi nga namin, even before, nung nandoon kami sa serbisyo, marami rin kaming tinayong mga cooperatives. Very, very few have survived or have been successful, no? So, dito po sa ginagawa po natin sa PCA, ang isa sa guidance na binigay ni Secretary Dar is throughout yung life cycle ng mga itatayo nating cooperative organizations, yung presence po ng PCA will be there. So sabi niya, kahit nga maglagay tayo diyan, mag-hire tayo ng business manager to provide support dun sa cooperative na yan, hanggang maging standing siya on its own, na kaya niyang tumakbo, no? So inaaral po namin kung ano yung mga causes for the failures. Isang nakita namin, sabi nga namin, hindi pwedeng one size fits all, hindi pwedeng isang pattern or isang template yung cooperative or yung farmers organization. Una-una, iba-iba yung kaugalian ng Pilipino by region, iba-iba yung customs and tradition, iba-iba yung level ng pagsasamahan nila, no? So, iyon isang malaking factor sa organizational concept. Kaya ang sinasabi nga po namin na pag dinevelop yung konsepto, dapat sa ground level. So, tuturuan lang natin yung mga tao natin how to scan the environment, titignan nila kung ano appropriate, at saka kung ano saan mag-agree yung mga tao para we're assured na magiging successful, no? So, kino-correct na din po namin na kaya in-emphasize natin market driven. Kasi matatandaan nyo, before, minsan yung government bili-bili lang na equipment and then ipapadala without study. So ngayon medyo ini-screen na po natin. We're putting up a system, merong approval system lahat ng project proposal. And may minimum na po doon na requirements. No? Inihingi na rin natin yung market study, yung business plan, even yung capital, no? Yung sinasabi nyo. Yung technical support, inaano po yan. Yan po yung i-expand ng PCA na yung extension niya, service, will be available 24 hours to farmers para whether they are cooperative or individual farmers, they can go to PCA kung ano man technical support yung kailangan nila. So yan po yung isang inaaral natin, no? So kailangan market driven, and then yung PCA, meron na rin po tayong from the head office na trained sa market development. So pagka nag-propose ka ng something, dapat alam mo yung market, no? Or isang strategy po na ginagawa natin, for example, sa choir. So, kausapin natin yung DPWH, cooperative na nagpo-produce ng G-Unit para siguradong may bibili nun. So kasama po yun doon sa mechanism na ini-introduce natin for next year, para sigurado tayo na tatakbo yung cooperative, yung business tatakbo. Meron kang supply at meron ka ring demand, no? Para tuloy-tuloy po. So, alam mo, yung na yan, talagang very yung predicament about yung magkaroon po tayo ng successful cooperatives. But sabi nga po namin, in the absence of investors, no, na private, at kung walang private investor, local, domestic or foreign, at may demand, ang PCA, ang talagang focus niya is to develop cooperatives para yung farmers themselves will own these mills and the production centers, na siguradong may pupuntahan yung production po nila. But of course, hindi natin inaalis, no? Ini-invite, nag-ano pa rin tayo ng mga investors, private sector investors, to like this Peter Paul, no? If they put up a milling company there in Misamis, malaking tulong na yan doon sa farmers natin doon. Kasi wala ang isa po na nakikita natin is yung domestic investment natin na private. Medyo nakikita natin na kukonti at maraming gaps dun sa supply chain natin na walang gusto mag-invest, like storage facility, like itong yung copra dryer. So pinag-aaralan po namin yan, yung copra dryer for example, kasi medyo mataas na yung standard ng international diyan. Pinipili na nila talaga yung copra na dumaan sa cold press, no? Yung tamang proseso. So tinitingnan namin kung walang investor, walang mangyayari. So we will have to finance, capitalize cooperatives owned by the farmers, and then help them from sabi nga natin, from end to end para maging successful po. Mangyayari po yan pag nagtulungan po tayo sa private sector at saka sa LGU. Thank you po.
Thank you, sir. Actually, meron kaming experience on producing copra premium during our early days of the CPC. Ang problema lang namin is yung volume. They would give us a good price because we cannot have the volume na kailangan nilang i-require. So yun ang isang problema dun.
Yeah,
so sana,
tama
sir,
po.
Meron tayong na lang sir, yung sa PCA, at least ma-clear namin ano ba talaga ang mga grassroots intervention of PCA to the middle and to the big or large scale industry like what Congressman Nonoy presented also, kasi meron talaga yung value chain connectivity, no?
Tama po 'yun. Actually, tama yung sinasabi ni Congressman Nono, no? So, yung objective ng COCO levy is, number one, to increase the farmers' income. And then to you reduce the poverty level natin among the coconut farmers. Of course, lahat na rin ng other farmers, no? Yung sinasabi niya po. And then modernize the industry so that it becomes a sustainable industry, and everybody in the industry should be earning para you do not need PCA or government support in the future because everybody earns from it, no, from the farmer. So saan ka magsisimula? Titignan mo yung weak portion ng value chain. Titignan natin yung farmers, no? Titignan namin, it's not a poor industry, it's a multi-billion industry. So saan napupunta yung pera? So some people are earning more, and there are some people who are not earning to earn a living. So doon po magpo-focus yung PCA. So yung pera po na coming from the government, we will invest to empower these people. So paano po gagawin yun? We will tie up with LGU, no? Yung sabi nga namin. So ang sa dinadissect namin yung Coconut Farmers Registry. There are 1.2 registered coconut farmers who are landless. Ibig sabihin labor po sila. Napakalaking porsyento po niyan, no? 1.2 multiply mo ng 4, let's say 4. So you have roughly 5 million people living in poverty. Ang sweldo nga nila, sabi ni Congressman, 2,000 yata, nabanggit niya kanina. So, hindi ka mabubuhay doon. So, tapos you have about 400,000 farmers with 0.5 to 1 hectare. And then the rest, siguro about another 500,000, that's 500, they own a much bigger land. Ito mga tao na to, I'm sure they are earning. No? Meron, kumikita sila, industry. Now, yung mga 0.5 to 1 hectare, ang inabutan po natin dito before because of some policies of the previous administration, sila yung nagbe-benefit. Sila yung primarily nabibigyan ng planting, replanting. Sila yung ngayon, gusto po nating baguhin yon. Kasi for the longest time, supposedly, sa dami na ng program na ni-roll out ng PCA, dapat na-empower na natin sila, no? Ibig sabihin, kumikita na sila. Ang naiwan ho dito, yung 1.2 million na coconut laborer at tenant. So, ito yung tinitingnan namin kung anong intervention natin para talaga mag-improve sila, maging productive Filipino citizens sila. Pag naging productive individual sila, I'm sure they'll be contributing to the whole economy, no? To the whole industry. So, ang konsepto namin ngayon is expansion areas. No? So, ang gagawin natin, yung mga existing coconut areas, we will sustain them, improve them, but then we will look for expansion areas. Ito yung mga sinasabi ng mga LGUs po na pwedeng gamitin for new coconut plantation. Na pwedeng i-organize yung mga certain group of people na in an arrangement similar to usufruct or CLOA or stewardship na pwedeng mag-i-invest yung PCA 50 hectares of land, tataniman natin yan ng mga hybrid, for example, or tor or whatever varieties appropriate in that area. And then iti-train na natin sila sa coconut community. And then yung technical support will be continuing, no, hangga't ma-empower sila na kaya nilang patakbuhin yung farm, integrated farm, at kaya rin nilang patakbuhin yung business side of the farming. Matagal pong proseso, no? Kaya we will maglalagay tayong technical people, a business manager in that community para sila yung tutulong habang dinedevelop mo, ini-empower mo yung community na yun. It's just time na kaya na niya magpapatakbo. Yun lang nakikita natin na malilip natin sila doon sa kahirapan. Otherwise, forever na po silang magiging labor. Yun yung nakita namin. So yun ang intervention natin at this sector of the coconut farmers. Yung doon sa may mga lupa na dati na pong nagbe-benefit, titignan natin consolidation aspect, no? Para ma-increase din nila yung income nila from what they produce. Yun yung sinasabi nyo kasi wala po lang scale. Kaya bumibitaw yung mga millers kasi wala silang assured supply of raw materials. Sa Thailand, sa India, na-resolve na ho nila yan. Karamihan talaga sa kanila, puro large-scale plantation, corporation, either co-owned by big-time investors and of course, the farmers. So nagiging stockholder din yung mga farmers. Dito kasi, pag farmer ka, hindi ka naman maging part owner or maging stock ano ka dun sa nawawala ng pag-asa yung farmer. So, yun dun sa ano po yun, sa yung middle level, yung middle ground kung sinasabi natin, yung 0.5 to 1 hectare. So, you have the landless, the tenants, that one group, the 0.5 to 1 hectare, and then the 1 hectare and up. Now, these are people who are actually, tinitignan namin yung profile po ng 1 hectare and up. Hindi naman talaga sila lang farmer. Parang ito mga professional din. Karamihan nasa gobyerno pa. Government farmers or lawyer farmers, doctor farmers. Because they can afford to have large tract of lands. So may pera sila. So kumikita ho sila. Now, of course, we're not saying na hindi sila kasama sa tulong, no? Kasi part sila ng industry. Now, yung technical support, we will give them. Some of the programs po na gusto nilang kunin, for example, yung seed farm, no? Meron tayong hybridization. That's about 160 million for next year. Pag na-approve po yung levy, that's 1.5 billion. Hindi po kayang i-produce ng PCA yon. So, ang gagawin natin, community-based procurement. For example, kayo po, may cooperative. Pwede namin bilhin sa inyo ibibigay namin yung technology, how to do hybridization, and then we will buy the hybrid plants from you. So it becomes now your business as a cooperative or as an individual magiging business. Yun din naman pwede namin tulong doon sa mga nasa higher level of the bracket ng industry. Yung bibili naman namin na yan yung pupunta po doon sa lower bracket so that they can start a new life and they will be productive citizen of Misamis. No? Kasi hindi na sila magiging pure. So hopefully yun ang konsepto na mag-work. Again, sabi nga namin, simple solution, difficult to execute.
So sir, consider us in the area to visit with Administrator Madrigal para mabisitahan yung kay Kung Nonoy na big scale na proposal at saka yung sa grassroots level naman natin para makita nyo kagad talaga.
Sige
Yes,
po,
sir.
pupunta po
Kayo rito.
Yes, Congressman Nonong po, pasyal po kami dyan. Ralph?
All right. Thank you very much, Heya. And of course, General Manager Godwin, no? You mentioned a while ago the pressing concerns nga ng coconut industry sa Misamis Occidental concerning sa processing, no, sa capitalization and sa market. And of course, the commitment of PCA, no, to alleviate this. Mentioned a while ago by Heya, yung empowerment ng communities, no, sa in the prospect ng availability na ng coconut levy. So we'll proceed, no, sa next na gustong halubilo kang Heya. I would like to welcome the Provincial Agriculture Officer for the whole of Misamis Occidental, Mr. Dennis C. Leopoldo. Sir?
Okay. Thank you and good morning to the participants of this forum, especially to General Roy Devesa, sir, head of the executive assistant to the PCA administrator, and of course to our Congressman Jiguti and to the important personalities in this forum. Again, good morning. Now, thank you for conducting this second Coconut Stakeholders Forum to address or so that we can air our concerns on the coconut industry of Misamis Occidental. I think there was the first one, Coconut Congress, last 2018, wherein the replanting and the dispersal of hybrid coconut seedlings was taken up or tackled. Now, for this forum, what we would like to present is the status of the 98,000 hectares, including the potential area of coconut in Misamis Occidental, now threatened by the conversion of the areas into other high-value commercial crops. One of these is the coming in of the Cabindes banana industry in the province. So the coconut area, some coconut areas are now threatened with this industry. Now, good for the other varieties like Lakatan and Lakatan and Cardaba, to include even the cacao, which will grow best in under cocoa. So I think the vision of the province is to being the vibrant agri-fishery industry in Region 10. This is even the coconut processing center, establishment of coconut processing center is included in our provincial development plan. So my concern is I would like to reiterate or present again our proposal on the processing center, even for just for a medium scale, that medium scale coconut, virgin coconut oil processing center, to I think to enhance or to increase the demand of this coconut, to discourage the conversion of the areas, some areas. So increasing the demand through the establishment of processing center. One is the virgin coconut oil, aside from the coconut sugar. I think the demand for the coconut products and byproducts will be enhanced. So this is also the interest of our leader, our governor in the province, Governor Philip Tan, the establishment or the promotion of the processing center of coconut in Misamis Occidental being the major product, being the major crop in the province. And thank you. Thank you, sir.
Okay, thank you po at for that, ano. Alam niyo po, ang nagdadrive sa agriculture, again, babalik tayo, no, market driven. Nakita natin for a while, tinitingnan po namin na yung production ng copra. Kasi yung copra lang ang medyo malaking portion, no? For the last 3 years, 4 years, bumababa. So, if that is the indicator that that you have, it tells you na hindi kumikita yung tao, no? Dahil you have lesser demand, and then ang nangyayari, may competition yan, alam naman natin. So kung saan nakikita ng tao, nakikita sila, doon sila pupunta. And the reason yung mga intention to convert some of these lands. Now ayaw nga po natin gawin yun, no? Kasi we want to save the coconut industry. Natingin lang natin na palagay natin na wala lang sa radar natin for a while, but now it's coming back, no? Sabi natin, and we now have a much better technology. Land use is not within the sphere of PCA, no? Yung conversion po. Pero of course, siguro naman yung mga involved dyan are good planners. Now, here's what we can do. For example, meron na tayong hybrid coconut na sinasabi, no? For example, in Misamis Oriental, now the hybrid coconut produces 5 times more nuts than the ordinary nuts. So if in Misamis Occidental, now if we can have a multi-year program, for example, for 5 years to plant hybrid, so instead of having 100 hectares for coconut now, after 5 years you can produce the same number of nuts in lesser hectareage of land. And therefore, kung may mga other opportunities that the province see na high value products that they want to invest, magagamit natin yung mga coconuts, mga land area na yan to grow other crops, high value crops. It's a matter of how fast we can able to react in the province, and of course, this is nationwide, no? On how we can replace yung mga senile trees natin with this new hybrid. Medyo, ito po, binibigyan ng pansin ni Secretary Dar. In fact, ang order niya sa amin dito is 5 million trees. And medyo under capacity, hindi namin kaya nga i-outsource po namin. Sa ibang bansa, medyo mas mabilis sila. Kaya makikita nyo, in terms of hectareage, tayo ang laki, 3.6 million hectares. Pero sila, maliliit lang na hectareage, but they are catching up in terms of productivity. Kasi yung mga tanim po nila, hybrid. So, this particular task, isasama po namin niya sa starting next year. Kaya nga ngayon pa lang, kung maano nyo, sila Roland, eventually will be looking for breeders of hybrid. Kasi yan na po yung gusto natin mangyari. Sa ano yan, natural po yan. Kasi yung demand ng tao, kung ano yung kailangan ng tao, doon pupunta yung business eh. So hindi natin maiwasan, may mako-convert talaga. But sabi ko nga, yung demand for coconut oil, ang nakikita po namin, will start to reverse. It will grow up, no? Starting next year. Actually ngayon, medyo tumataas na po even the price of copra. Because of so many trends, not just BCO. Yung issue of food safety in Europe, yung fair trade, yung sustainability, lahat po yan will contribute to the growth of the industry in the next few years. Yun po yung hopefully yung nakikita natin. So, yun po yung pwedeng gawin natin diyan sa Misamis, no? As agricultural officer, I'm sure meron po kayong influence to design that program, and then PCA will help you. Meron nga pong bagong directive ngayon, yung budgeting system natin, yung Mandanas ano, na baka yung mga program po ng National PCA, no, mapupunta eventually sa local. You know, you can start developing plans for that para makikita nyo kung ano talaga yung apportionment ng mga productive lands sa Misamis na kikita talaga yung tao at magiging sustainable din. You know? Yan naman na importante. Pag sabi mo sustainable, people will earn from it for a longer time without degrading the environment, without abusing any sector or any group of people dun po sa process of business, no, doing business. Thank you po. That's a very, very good input.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, so we heard a while ago, no, very exciting na developments for our coconut industry in the province. I know our participants are raring to ask questions, no, but I would like to kuan lang muna na hold lang muna yung questions natin kasi may second part natin sa ating program, which is the presentation on the PCA transformation roadmap for the region, for Region 10, no, for the coconut industry development proposal. So with that, I would like to introduce our presenter for that presentation, Mr. Jose Danilo Ontalan, our acting project development officer for PCA Region 10. So a round of let's give him a round of applause, please.
Good morning. Good morning, everyone.
Teka lang, nag-feedback po siya. Ayan. Try po natin ulit, Sir Danny.
Okay na, Ram?
Okay na po. Loud and clear. Ay. May ko. Hindi hinaan yung volume sa sa speakers nila.
Okay na? Ang speaker. Okay,
For a while lang. For the meantime, Sir Dan, kindly share the presentation po. Ayan. Kindly start over po sa beginning, Sir Dan. Ayan. Okay. Sige, Sir Dan, can you unmute yourself and then perhaps you can start.
Okay. So again, good morning.
Parang may feedback pa rin. Teka lang. Like to apologize, no? Kasi yun nga, new normal na tayo ngayon. So, may mga instances talaga na ganito sa technical difficulties ng na kailangan virtual na yung mga meetings natin, di ba? So, let's wait for a while, no? While the PCA Misamis Occidental are sorting things out, no?
Hello, Ram.
Yes, Sir Dan.
So okay na ang audio?
Medyo okay na siya, sir, but may may feedback lang ng konti. May existing pa ata na speaker na nagpe-play. Kindly lower the volume. Sige, Sir Dan.
Sige. Ram,
Yes, Sir Dan.
pwede siguro mag-transfer na lang ko dito kang Bong kay
Ay.
medyo ga-echo mo.
Okay, sir. Okay, Sir Dan. Sige, Sir Dan. So, yun nga, no, ba? So, mga last minute changes, the adjustments do sa sa audio kasi may problem sa sa audio quality doon sa PCA Misamis Occidental. So, tayo ngayon? Spread out yung yung stakeholders forum ngayon. Actually nasa regional office, tas si Sir Danny nasa provincial office sa Misamis Occidental. So, intay muna tayo for a while. Water break muna siguro. Kasi mahaba-haba yung usapan kanina, di ba?
Meron yatang concern si Congressman Nonoy. May kung gusto niya
sige, perhaps we can entertain a few questions while PCA Misamis Occidental are sorting things out. Heya, are you available for a few questions po? Parang si Heya, naka-log out muna si Heya. Baka mamaya siguro. Andito naman si PCDM Roland Calio. Perhaps he can entertain questions. I think Congressman T have a question. So Congressman, perhaps you can air out it. Yes,
yeah. Si General Leia kanina mention about productivity. Gusto ko lang matanong, I want to ask our provincial Philippine Coconut Authority, ano ba ang production rate natin per coconut tree per year? How many nuts per coconut tree per year ang average sa Misamis Occidental? Si Bong yata makakasagot.
Hello po.
Ay, Bong.
Hello, Congressman. Hello,
Oh,
Ram.
ang question ko, Bong, is how many nuts per tree per year ang productivity natin? Average sa Misamis Occidental. Kasi si Major General kanina mention about times
Huh?
5 ang hybrid.
Yes.
So
Di-
what if we don't go hybrid and then we just improve our production through massive filterization. So gusto ko matanong ano ang production natin?
Yes, hello, Ram. Di ko ka kuan, di ko ka
Yes, Sir Bong?
baduga ko, Ram.
Yes, sir. Loud and clear po. Sige, sir.
Nawala ko sa kuan, nawala ko hasta akong mga video. Sige lang. Congressman, sa karon diri sa Misamis Occidental, our nut production per tree per year is about 48 to 50 so far sa pagkakaroon. During the time that we have embarked coconut fertilization in the 1990s, it increased to 68 nuts per tree per year. Pero karon murag medyo dili kay siya daghan for the reason also nga mura og nag-senile na po ang atong coconut trees, murag medyo gilaylo na production because of senility. So kung mag-senile na siya, then giputol nato ang some of the coconut trees that we have replaced ay pa karon siya kibali murag nagsugod og pamungasad. So dili pa moabot kibali siyang full bearing stage. Now, in regard to fertilization, ang atong fertilization before was salt fertilization. During that time, sa salt fertilization, medyo dako gid ang production in terms of copra production. Pero when we talk also about ang replanting, Congressman, we can recommend because so far sa atong gene bank sa Philippine Coconut Authority, daghan ang atong research center sa Zamboanga because dito man kasagara ang gene bank karon. Ang makarecommend ta og mga gwapo nga mga, in your case sa District 1, because we are anticipating the Peter Paul Philippines to operate na gusto mong ginato nga katong mga tall varieties. There are tall varieties of coconut nga dako gid siya og production in terms of nut per tree per year o kanang gitaw na to og kung kopra magaling in terms of tons per hectare per year. One of which ang among na-recommend is katong Baybay-tol, which has a production of capacity of 74 nuts per tree per year. Dayon katong tagnanan tol nga akong gi-recommend sa imo before nga 68 nuts per tree per year. When those coconut trees can be planted sa atong area, particularly sa imong district, it can somehow address sa katong gibutan nato problem in terms sa nut sizing sa Peter Paul Corporation.
Bong, ako sa ikato pa, during one of the discussions in Congress, it was mentioned that with the proper fertilizer and the proper irrigation, farmers can get as much as 200 nuts per year per tree. Mo na maximum. So way below ta sa 48. So we don't have to shift to hybridization, but we just improve our plantation, our pag-fertilize na to. So basig na diha ang kulang na to ba. So we cannot just cut the trees and change it to hybrid trees, no? Kay ang ato karon is what is the immediate solution. The immediate solution is to improve the irrigation and fertilization. So aside na on the side po magtanom po ta, no? We will replace the senile trees also with the what you mentioned variety, no? Pero I just hope na kung madayon gani ang Peter Paul will focus on the trees, the nuts that they need, not that what we can produce but what they need so we can sell it to them, no?
Yes.
So tama focus siguro on our end, maghimo po tag roadmap atuwa diri sa Misamis Occidental with the help of Godwin and Dennis Leopoldo siguro.
Yes, sir.
Okay,
Yes,
naman
Congressman.
po factory sa Tangub City. So they
Yes, sir.
go as far as Zamboanga City gani to purchase their raw material. So why not buy it here in our province siguro kay naman sila established dire. Pero ang ilalagay importante gipod is the kinahanglan organic siya. So
Organic.
with the nag-mention si Dennis regarding banana plantation. Banana plantation cannot be an organic technology, no? Okay. So mas sellable and mas taas og presyo ang organic na coconut na certified. So sila madali ran daw ang pag-certified as long as yung undercrop, intercrop natin is organic also. Hindi naman they don't need na yung mga neighbors organic, hindi. Yung intercrop lang na kailangan organic yun. So para makakuha tayo ng certification. So
Yes, Congressman.
I think in Misamis Occidental we have to focus on increasing the present production of our existing trees, no, coconut trees. Aside from replacing the senile trees also. So focus tayo sa fertilization, irrigation kasi dito kulang tayo sa tubig, napapabayaan talaga. Kaya I mentioned earlier that sobrang organic ang Misamis Occidental because pinabayaan natin ang nature na para mag-produce, walang tulong sa tao. So might as well we have to come in also. So
Yes,
kaya
po.
tinanong ko Bong kasi it was mentioned in Congress that farmers can go as much as 200 nuts per year per tree. So we are only producing 48, so way below tayo, 1/4 lang tayo. So we can do I hope na we can do things about this also.
Yes. Yes, Kong. Sige lang po. We will see
Roland,
that.
Roland,
Yes.
Roland, I suggest you consult with the research, no?
Yes, sir.
Kung saan na yung data para you have a more correct data. Meron kasi tayong data na pag pinertilize mo, yun yung more or less number of nuts that tree produces. Pero parang congressman, wala pa yata kaming ano na medyo 200, ano? Na gano'n kahit na nag-fertilize. But we will check on that. If that is correct, tama yon. Ang first strategy is to maximize the existing. And then if you are expanding, that's where you can now choose other varieties based dun sa gusto nyo i-produce dun sa ano. Kaya nga kanya-kanya, no such fits all. And then, tama po yun, yung mga senile naman, yun lang ang papalitan mo muna dun sa existing. So, pwedeng dalawang category yan yung how do you maximize now the existing crops and then how much do you want to expand. Using variety that you think kakailanganin nung yung demand dun sa area niyo po. Pero magandang ano yan, kung may maganda kasi long term kasi yung coconut, hindi pwedeng one day lang saka may decide. It has to be planned out ng province para hindi magkakamali. No? Kasi matagal din mag-grow po ng coconut, no? 3 years. Yung hybrid natin, 3 years. Yung iba, 5 years pa. So, at saka yung hybrid, it will not be appropriate in all areas. No? May mga areas din talaga na kailangan mo yung tall, yung mga traditional trees natin. Maganda po ang ano po yun na mapag-usapan, planuhin ng provincial with of course yung technical ng PCA can assist the province in planning out paano nyo i-develop yung production dun sa industry. Pero iba.
Just like what we did in Congress, we are mandating the PCA to prepare a coconut farmers and industry development plan. Yun ang isa sa mandate namin sa PCA before ma-approve ang ating coconut levy trust fund. So might as well dito sa province kung anong existing na requirement natin, gawa rin tayo niyan. I will basta for the farmers, I will fully support. Attend ako, Bong. Lalo na si Bong is very active, no? Hindi nahihiya sa akin yan, kahit madaling araw tumatawag sa akin yan. So even before pa, no, nung mayor pa ako. So I will be very supportive sa cause ng farmers. Yun lang.
Yes, po. Yes, and I agree also with you, Congressman, that irrigation also will help in production because although wala pa tayong sigurong result ng research, pero palagay ko kasi kasi ang trend kasi ng production natin dito sa Misamis Occidental, pagka medyo maulan, ay tumataas yung production natin. Pag medyo maaraw, bumababa. So I based on those observations, ang tubig ay kailangan din ng niyog. So I think irrigation also will become a great factor in production.
Yan, irrigation.
Okay. So very interesting insights, no, from our speakers. So I think all is prepared na sa end of Sir Danny. So I will now turn over the presentation to the presentation of the Coconut Farmers and Industry Roadmap. So Mr. Danilo Ontalan, sir.
So again, thank you, Ram. No? Again, good morning to everyone. I was tasked by our regional manager, Manuel Octobre, to present the region Coconut Farmers and Industry Roadmap. Actually, the objective of this Coconut Stakeholder Forum per province, as directed by Admin Madrigal, is to come up to have the province come up with their own industry roadmap. So those industry roadmap per province will then be integrated to come up with the regional industry roadmap. So our roadmap, it should be aligned with the PCA's 18-year transformation program, with the focus of transforming not just the PCA, but most importantly, the coconut industry. It is through the leadership of Admin Madrigal, with his in tandem head executive assistant Devesa, wherein he would like to have the agency transform itself. Kasi nakita niya ito during sa military, sabi nga nila ang military yung unang gumawa ng transformation roadmap. So actually itong transformation roadmap natin is ito po ang pathway to lasting governance reform. Then we have tatlong strategies for our for our transformation. Number one is to negate the bad perception of the agency. Number two, to adopt the new strategic focus, which is agribusinessizing. And number three is to successfully contribute to the national agenda. So this is a public service. In order for us to have a good governance, we have to bridge performance gaps. We also have to respond to the current situation, new technology, explore new market opportunities, the stakeholder engagement opportunities, and the organizational cohesion. Base camp for the PCA transformation roadmap. For 2 years from now, the agency would be the leading agency in the agriculture sector, steering a market-driven coconut industry. And by 2026, the agency will be the leading agency institutionalizing a market-driven coconut industry in the country. And by 2032, this is a leader in ushering a market-driven coconut industry in Asia. And the ultimate PCA vision by 2038, a globally recognized institution championing a market-driven coconut industry. So industry transformation. As a situationer, coconut is one of the top producer and exporter worldwide. It also contributes 4.1% to the gross value added GVA in agriculture. It has a 3.6 million hectares planted to coconut, and 69 out of 82 provinces are coconut producing. We have about 2.5 million coconut farmers as based in our national coconut farmers registry system, and then an average base income of 20,000 per hectare per year. And then we have also about 347 million bearing trees, of which 10% are senile. And then an average yield of 42 to 44 nuts per tree per year. This is on the average on the national yield. And then what is our challenges? Our challenges on the production side, we have limited access to quality planting materials. We have also limited adoption of good agricultural practices and limited access to farming info and technologies. We have also poor farmer capabilities and poor farmer resiliency. On the processing side, we have inadequate product diversification, research and development, access to business information and technologies. And for the market, we have insufficient quality standards. We have insufficient access to market information, local and export promotion, enforcement of regulation. So how do we solve it? So this is by agribusinessizing, one of the strategy involved in the transformation roadmap. For the production, we have to empower, we have to have a capacity building of coconut farmers as cocopreneurs. We have to stabilize farmers' income, then formation of farmers' organization and resilient farmers. Then we have to modernize the access to new farm technologies, strengthen adoption of GAP and quality planting materials. For the processing, for the industrialization and infra development, we must have a village level processing. Then we must have a product diversification and access to technologies. While for marketing, we have to strengthen promotion, like relevant certifications, adoption of quality standards, higher domestic consumption, higher GVA contribution, and more export markets. In order to successfully contribute to the national agenda, we have to go from our current traditional to agribusiness. So for from low productivity, we have to have a well-managed productivity. From subsistence farming, we have to have a business farming. Vulnerable and dependent farmers must be a resilient and empowered farmer. Farmer which are mere raw material supplier must be cocopreneurs. Then we should not be dependent on copra. We must have a product diversification. To adapt to the new strategic focus, which is agribusinessizing, we have to have this integrated program management. And we have to have the regional operations as steerer of development and businesses. Then we have the involvement of our fellow national government agency, or we should have a convergence with all other sectors of the coconut industry. So for the stakeholder convergence mechanism, from the area identification, we go to identification of beneficiary, capacity building. Then we have to provide facilities, infra development, product development and market integration, marketing, and regulatory, which involves not only our fellow national government agency, as well as our local government unit and even our security sector, which is the AFP and the PNP. So let me present to you the coconut industry profile of Region 10, Northern Mindanao. So for our coconut area, currently we have about 298,000 hectares, of which are 31 million is bearing and 1.9 million non-bearing, with a senile trees of 4.8 million. Then the biophysical suitability of the region is highly suitable. And for our average nut yield in the region, it is 58 nuts per tree per year, which is higher than the national average, which is only 42 to 44 nuts per tree per year. So our total volume of nut production is about 1.8 billion nuts annually. So as you can see on the listing of our processors in the region, the bulk of it comes from Misamis Oriental, wherein they have coconut oil mills, desiccated plants, they have activated carbon, shell charcoal plants, oleochemicals, virgin coconut oil plant, coconut methyl ester plant, and one charcoal briquette plant. As for Misamis Occidental, we have at least 2 coconut oil mills, which is situated in Osamis and Jimenez, and 1 cocoa flour and BCO plant, which is in Tangub, which is the Gain Cocoa. For the copra production, as based on the number of nuts, the volume totals to about 421,000 metric tons. And then for its utilization and destination of coconut products, for our traditional product, which is the coconut oil, it goes to Japan, Germany, US, Australia, and Sri Lanka. And the second product, which has an higher export volume than the coconut oil, the oleochemicals, goes to Korea, Thailand, China, Spain, Japan, and India. And then we have the byproduct of the coconut, which is the copra meal pellets. This goes to Vietnam, India, and Japan, while the coconut water, the big market is in USA. And so on, and also for the activated carbon, mostly in Europe, US, and China. And our desiccated coconut, also in China, Spain, Germany, US, Japan, and Australia. And for our cocoa shell charcoal, the big bulk goes to Japan. Then we have also market in Korea, China, and Indonesia. Replanted and planted coconut trees under PCA program for the last 7 years totals to about 2.3 million trees. We have a total number of farmers, which is about 153,000, of which farm owner is about 82,000, farm workers 52,000, and tenants 17,000. We have also a number of farmers organization in the region, which is about 608 farmers group. Then for the intercrop, for the area with intercrop, we have about 218,000 hectares, and without intercrop, 84,000 hectares. So the suitable intercrops, which is implemented currently with our program in the NCIP, or the National Coconut Intercropping Project. This is mostly on corn, banana, cacao, lanzones, coffee, sweet potato, peanut, abaca, cassava, upland, and ginger. So for the region, we have this number of processing plant. So we have about 10 BCO processors, 6 cocoa sugar processor, 4 activated carbon processor, 5 cocoa shell charcoal processor, 2 charcoal briquette processor. We have 6 oil miller with refinery. We have also 2 oil miller only, and we have 1 palm and cocoa oil refinery. This is located in Cagayan de Oro, wherein their raw material comes from Cebu. And we have also this oil palm miller with refinery in Bukidnon. Then we have also 2 desiccated coconut processors, one in Medina, Misamis Oriental, and the other one is here in Misamis Occidental. We have also 1 coconut flour. We have 1 coconut vinegar processor, which is the Sukang Pinakurat in Lanao del Norte. Then we have also 5 cocoa coir fiber and cocoa peat producer, 1 oleochemical processor, and 2 CME processors. As for the number of registered coconut traders, so we have the highest at 607, which are the cocoa lumber processors and trader. For the copra trader is 153, cocoa shell charcoal trader 24. Then we have also the cocoa shell trader 5, cocoa hasnat 5, walnut 27, and cocoa seedlings 1. So we have here the local walnut demand versus the production of the region. So dini makita ang kwano kung ang production sa province sufficient ba ni siya sa requirements sa atong mga processor. So for the region, the total requirement, annual requirement for all the processors in the region is about 4.3 billion nuts per year. While the requirement, nabalita eh. Ang annual requirement is about 4.3 billion nuts from our processor. While our annual production in the region, as based in the PCA Philippine Statistic Authority data, is only about 1.6 billion, wherein we have a deficiency of about 2.7 nuts per year, which is equivalent to about 46 million trees, which could total to 463 hectares. So for Misamis Occidental alone, so we could see the deficiency, no? So ang annual requirement from Misamis Occidental from these 3 big industry processor the Osamco, the Third Millennium, and the Gain Coco, their annual nut requirement is about 1.3 billion, while the province annual nut production is only at 570 million nuts a year. So we have at least a 50% deficiency on the requirements. So this would translate to about 9.5 million trees or 95,000 hectares of coconut. So for the coconut industry needs and recommendation, so we have the coconut industry roadmap analytical framework, the coconut industry development, which focus on the traditional products, non-traditional, and emerging products. Our traditional products are the copra, the crude coconut oil, and the desiccated coconut. While for our non-traditional or emerging products, as these include the virgin coconut oil, cocoa water, the coir, and the cocoa sugar. Then we have also the production and farmers welfare. Then we have to get the status, problems, and prospect of this traditional product in order for us to come up with the SWOT analysis, value chain analysis, and the competitive analysis, so that we could come up for the national or the coconut industry programs and strategies, prospect, intervention policy, and program recommendations. For the framework of the coconut value chain, so for the out of the 15 billion nuts harvested or dihas, about 80% of it, 80% of the nut goes to copra making. And then this copra will go to oil mills, which produces the crude coconut oil. Then further refined to, or further process into refining for cooking oil. And then we have also the crude coconut oil would go to oleochemicals and the coconut methyl ester for the production of biodiesel. And then for our cocoa water, so this would go for to the cocoa water collection system for the production of cocoa water beverage or vinegar. And then for the 20% remaining nuts, this is marketed as full nut as raw material for desiccator, wherein they process it to desiccated coconut. They could also process it into milk, cocoa milk powder, BCO, and other food products. And then for their water, they have already an existing technology wherein they also process it for export market. And then for our cocoa husk, so they go to the fiber mill to produce cocoa twines, jonets, and cocoa pit. While the cocoa shell would go to the charcoal production plant for further processing into charcoal briquette and activated carbon. And as for the cocoa sap, this would come directly from our coconut farms. This is for cocoa sugar making and cocoa toddy wine processing. And then from this cocoa sugar making, they could produce cocoa sugar, cocoa aminos, and cocoa wine. The region strongly recommend for a continuous support for our existing traditional end user, like our oil mills and our desiccators. For farmer, we recommend for adoption of high density planting uh, where applicable, and planting of hybrids or OPBs depending on area's suitability. Then we also recommend for the adoption of fertilization, mulching, and irrigation where it is applicable. Planting of suitable intercrops such as banana, abaca, coffee, cacao, ginger, lanzones, sweet potato, and other shade-tolerant intercrops. And adoption of more value-adding such as utilization of husk, shell, and water as byproduct from copra making. We also recommend for a direct marketing, either through co-ops, LDUs, or civil society organization and other players. Traditional end users are highly encouraged to form bond with raw material supplier by providing support and incentive in any form. While we recommend for continued support to our mills and other end users, we also highly encourage our farmers to adopt non-traditional product. This is in order to hugely augment their family income. So as an example, our regional manager, based on his expertise in the producing of BCO and cocoa sugar, so our regional average production is about 58 trees per tree per year. If we divide that with 5 number of trees to produce, one 330 ml bottle of BCO sold at minimum of 150 per bottle. So 11 times 150 will equal about 1,650 pesos income per tree per year. And for the cocoa sugar, one tree can produce a minimum of 2 liters sap per day or 1/4 kilo sugar and sold at 130 pesos per kilo or 32.50 pesos per tree per day. So multiply it by 365 days, we could get as much as 11,862 pesos per tree per year. So the possible value added in traditional coconut product production. So if your end product is copra, we could have also additional income from husk, which could be produced to cocoa fiber. This could be either baled, this could be either further processed into ropes, nets, and eco pots. Then we have also the pit, which could use for mulching and cocoa peat based or organic. Then income from shell, we could sold it as shell, which is used by processing mills for their boiler as fuel, or sold this as charcoal briquette. Then we have also this income from water. Although we could also further process it into vinegar or sauce. Actual technology for water from copra making, may design na ang PhilMec on the processing of water. And then for our the husk nut, we have income from husk, same coir fiber, either baled or further processed into ropes, nets, and eco pots. And we have also the pit for mulching, cocoa peat based and cocoa peat based organic. This is timely if ever the Peter Paul would finally start operation here in Misamis Occidental. This would make our small decorticating machine uh, operational for the use of the pit for their organic fertilizer. Price of the hasnat should be much higher than copra due to the value added from has, water, and shell. Actually, prices of the hasnat from the desiccator is also based on the copra price. So, yun sana kasi may income generated from has, water, and shell. So, sana ang buying price natin sa hasnat is much higher than the copra base price. So, important consideration, let us augment coconut farmers' income without sacrificing the raw materials need of existing traditional end user. So RM October also gave us a sample planting of high density, the entry. Sabi pa niya, entry design, which is 12 by 12 meters triangular, layout between groups of 3 coconuts, wherein we can have as much as 200 nuts per tree in a hectare. This is with about 6-meter open area between groups, which could also be utilized for intercropping. So an example of this planting pattern is in Barangay Pugaan, Iligan, Lanao del Norte, which is the source of coconut sap of Sukang Pilacurat. So we have also here the sample form for the workshop format for the coconut industry development plan, which could be accomplished by participants, in which the output could be the roadmap of the Misamis Occidental. So I think that's all, and good morning.
Okay, so let's give a big round for for Sir Danny for the presentation, no, of the PCA transformation roadmap and the regional coconut industry development proposal. So with that said, I think we have come to our last part of the program. No, we are now open for questions and query. No, we have in attendance today our farmer leaders from the different municipalities. We also have partner agencies from LGU and Mouse. No? So we are now open for questions. And then for those who want to have a copy of the presentation, I would once again like to invite our participants to kindly fill in the attendance that I have provided in the chat box, no? So that we can have your email addresses. So the one presented a while ago can be used by the Misamis Occidental as a guide for the preparation of their provincial roadmap, no, for the Misamis Occidental. Ika nga ni Heya kanina, different pegs and different holes. So iba-iba yung needs ng ating provinces. So we don't necessarily have to copy the one presented a while ago. We just have to cater to the needs sa ating province. So do you have questions?
Sir, can I?
Yes po, Sir Gadwin.
With the presentation of the admin officer in Cagayan de Oro, based on the presentation and with the existing manufacturing and other facilities, we have a shortfall in the coconut production. Is
Yes.
that right?
Yes.
So there's a lot of intervention, as mentioned by Congressman Nonoy Tika kanina. I think we have to look into the existing one. Well, it's an addition to have the new hybrid material, hybrid coconut, but we have to look into the productivity of the existing one to suit also the needs of the manufacturing industry in coconut, because we have a shortfall on that. So
Precisely, sir. Yes.
that's my issue.
Yes, sir. That will be noted. In fact, PCA is very adamant on fertilization talaga ng coconut farms. And of course, yung application ng mulching sa ating coconut farmers kasi ika nga nila, mulching can increase by the yield by up to 30% no sa ating coconuts because of the water retention capability of mulch. So perhaps Sir Bong can add.
I would suggest Bong. I would suggest nga katong concern ni kung Nunoy kaganina Bong. I think tanaw nato na siya sa unsa man ang reality sa ato sa Misamis Occidental and what will be our real intervention for the existing ones to address the productivity to fill up the gap, especially if the Peter and Paul will be coming in. And then unsa man nato pag
wala na akong elaborate gayon na sir no, pero as far as katong gi-present gina ni Congressman T, we can address to that. Number one was katong sa replanting. Siguro identification also of planting materials suited para sa ato adire.
Okay, na may existing nga mga cutting of trees karon Bong. Sa una sa
ang atong mga cutting kay based muna sa mga signal karon sir.
Hopefully.
Second is natin mga answer na may mga studies about results of fertilizer and other ameliorants applied to coconut trees nga dunay lahi pud siya og effect in terms of production. In fact, we did mga 6 to 7 year studies about application sa salt alone, mulching using katong coconut husk, a combination of the mulching of husk and salt at the same time. So doon na tayong mga studies na it can be available. It is available indeed. I can present that to you so that kana pud sa mahimong possibility sila natong murag springboard as to what to apply tingali siya sir sa in terms of increasing coconut production through fertilization. So we have choices already based on those actual studies nga gitanta. And sa katong giingon siguro ni Congressman Nunoy about katong sa varietal. Ang variety is one also of the greatest factors sa production because there are coconut varieties nga for tanner lagi sa daan. In terms of nut size, in terms of thickness of the meat. So ingon na sa sir. So I think those can be identified during our paglasta nato karon sa atuang roadmap, provincial roadmap as of development plan also.
Sige, ikaw pilot sa provincial roadmap. Kay musakay lang mi.
Sige sir.
Sige,
I will do the presentation, then we will discuss about kung unsa atong i-apply base sa atong existing required conditions.
So last na lang ko mo Bong. So ang importante gusto na ko makita sa roadmap ninyo, what are the intervention from the board of coconut farmers, grassroots, and then sa middle and sa large intervention. No? So muna itong pinakatanaw kay we will not hit the roadmap. Di ta mo abot sa padulungan kundi nato na sugdan karon.
Sige sir.
Labi na kayo ang roadmap sa national down to the region. Nya tama na dyan sa roadmap. Mawa ta GPS.
Sige.
Kong Nonoy, convergence lang ta Kong Nonoy. I-convergence na aron makita yun na to ang what's the realities in the area.
So nakoy comment pwede.
Sige sir.
Sige sir.
If the PCA family, if I show this presentation to Peter Paul Philippines, I am afraid that they will be backing out because of the huge deficit in our productivity. So dili day problema nato ang market, ang problema nato is production. So kulang pala for Misamis Occidental alone, we have almost 1/2, 500 million coconuts per year ang atong shortfall. So I think we have to focus, Misamis Occidental, we have to work hard on this. Pagtulungan natin to. I think we have to present to them also our roadmap na to prove to them that viable pang ilang investment dire, we can supply them with despite this presentation, but we have actions taken to cover up with our deficit. Anyway, naman say neighboring municipalities, neighboring provinces who can supply. Ang target ko nila, they will be buying nuts from Bohol, Siquijor, Zamboanga del Norte. They are looking on it also, but it would be better for our farmers profitability kung we will produce more on our own, no? So we General Roy, please help us on this, on the production, the fertilization, katong procedures as mentioned by Bong, irrigation siguro, a little irrigation. So we badly need the help of the national government. And of course, Congress will be behind you on whatever you support to us.
Sige po, Congressman. Tama-tama po, may workshop kami next year for program development for next year. So, incorporate po natin yan. We'll look into the situation sa Misamis po.
Thank you. Salamat.
Okay, thank you very much. We also have a question from Nesty Gonzalez of Plaridel. Sir? Kindly unmute, sir. Kindly unmute your mic po. Go ahead, sir. Sir, wala pong audio, sir. For the meantime, sir, kindly you can chat the question in our chat box. I will read it na lang po. So, I will proceed sa next question. We have a question from LG Osamis. What is PCA's intervention regarding cocoa levy still holding share certificates, coconut farmers and landowners? Where can we get a copy of cocoa levy MOA? So perhaps, hey, yeah.
Okay, yung cocoa levy, the utilization is covered by the law that is going to pass by Congress and Senate to be approved by the President. So, yun lang ang susundin ng PCA, no? Hindi kami kasama dun sa pag-craft ng law, and dito nga si Congressman. So we will just implement it as what the bill will say, no? Ang understanding namin dyan is there is already a ruling by the Supreme Court that yung cocoa levy becomes a public fund, and yung utilization nga yan will be based on the law that is going to come out very soon.
May I answer also?
Yes po si Congressman.
Yes, as mentioned earlier, the money is about 76 billion pesos. It will be divided in 5 years after the signing, after reenactment of the bill. On the first year, 10 billion will be included in the General Appropriations Act under the PCA budget. 10 billion will be allocated for that. The second year, another 10 billion. Third year, the 15 billion. Fourth year, 15 billion. And the fifth year, the 25 billion. That's a total of 75 billion pesos divided into 5 years, excluding the properties, the assets of our cocoa farmers. No, of that amount, it will be divided also, of course, for the farmers. There are also scholarship program for their families, health and Medicare program for their families also, crop insurance for them, credit program, they can loan to identified banks. Of course, a lot of money will be allocated for the organizing of the farmers cooperative, coconut farmers cooperative. So all those who have those, what was mentioned earlier, the stock dividend, I guess, that's a proof that you are a coconut farmer. So that's one proof. So nakafocus ang atong presidente. That's why he vetoed the earlier law, the bill that we presented, because he was afraid na baka mapunta lang sa wealthy big land owners. So ang focus ngayon is for the less than 5 hectares land owners, less than 5 hectares, doon na po makapokus ang ating coconut levy trust fund. So it will be entrusted to PCA. Of course, the point person here is the PCA. We will be establishing the Coconut Farmers Industry Trust Fund. So it will be headed by the Office of the President and the PCA. So wag kayong mag-alala, ang pera darating sa inyo, especially those who have bonds or any proof of payment sa levy before.
Okay, thank you. Thank you very much, Congressman. Any other questions po?
Sir.
Yes, Sir
now,
Nasty Gonzales. Yes po, sir.
Yes, good morning po to the Honorable Major General, sir, our guest of honor. In your earlier discussion, sir, you mentioned one important factor in the pursuit of the various developmental directions for the coconut industry is the establishment of farm-to-market roads. These are considered as convergence projects in the national government. So we believe that while the Honorable Congressman have discussed earlier that the passage of the 2021 budget has already been approved by the Senate, then I think it will be possible for our administrator and our head executive assistant of the Philippine Coconut Authority to work on the possibility of including the inclusion of the various establishments of farm-to-market roads towards our cocoland areas, not only in the province of Misamis Occidental, but in the whole region. Sir?
Opo, meron po tayong proseso for the development, yung binanggit po ni Congressman, no? PCA is tasked to produce the coconut industry and farmers development plan, which will be the basis for the disbursement and expenditure for the coconut levy. Yung pong development plan will be holistic, and this will be crafted while PCA will be the lead planner, will be involving the other agencies concerned. Banggit nga po kanina ni Congressman, there is about 10% I think that will be allocated to DPWH for the infrastructure. So based on this holistic concept, ihimay-himayin natin yan kung saan po pupunta. So there be kasi ang development kasi ng coconut industry iba-iba po sa region, no? So there are much more advanced areas like for example Region 4 na marami na silang access road, so hindi nila kailangan yan. So sa area na may plantation pero walang access road, pwede natin ilagay yung farm to market road. So this will all be part and considered in the planning process, and we will be working with our PCDMs. They will be asked to present kung ano talaga yung necessary intervention in that province and in that region, and thus we're going to put the money para i-advance yung industry dito sa mga regions na to, para mag-advance din sila, makahabol sila po dun sa ibang industry. So yun po, actually even scholarship, meron pong pera doon, about 8% po yata. So yung mga farmers natin na nag-contribute, yung anak nila, they can avail of this scholarship. I-establish lang kung ano yung protocol po ron. Meron pula tayong healthcare, yung sinasabi din nila, may healthcare kasama. Kaya actually kung maririnig nyo, nagpapa-update na po kami ng Farmers Registry kasi gusto natin i-validate na lahat ng tao na nandun are really coconut farmers, legitimate, para walang hocus-pocus, walang sayang na pera. So diligently, ginagawa po natin yan. Down to the single centavo, gusto natin na pupunta po dun sa tamang pupuntahan po yan. Yan po gusto ng presidente natin.
At salamat po sir. Pahabol lang po. For on behalf of our cocoa farmers, we would like to express our sincerest gratitude to you, the top management of PCA, for the recent extension of assistance, financial assistance to the cocoa farmers. Marami po nakinabang dyan. In fact, the good congressman has consolidated already the list of farmer producers in our district under his jurisdiction for those who will be receiving this assistance from your good office. assistance to the farmers. Salamat po sa pandemic ngayon, kailangan po talaga nila.
Opo, galing po sa presidente natin yan. At sa tingin po namin na dahil dito sa sincerity ng government natin, marami po pong darating. Iniwala po tayo next year, mas magiging maganda pa para sa farmers natin. At talagang para sa farmers.
Salamat po.
Okay, thank you very much, sir. Sir
And addition
Gonzales.
also, if I may,
Yes, po. Yes, Congressman.
in addition to the query of Nestor Gonzalez, with regards to the PCA will be very only limited to the existing provinces. Hindi pwede dun sa ibang lugar na kokonti lang yung coconut. So very specific yan. Ang Congress will oversee on this kung saan mapupunta yung pera. So
Okay, thank you very much, Congressman. Any more questions? I think wala na, no? Parang na suffice na yung queries ng ating participants, especially sa atong farmer leaders. Na-excite siguro dun sa December 9 within the year may na developments na dun sa coconut levy. So with that said, I think the time is 12:08. Perhaps we can proceed with the closing remarks. So I would like to call on Acting Senior Agriculturist Lariano S. Gabuya Jr. to conduct the closing remarks. Sir?
Yes, hello, Ram. Can you hear me, Ram?
Yes, sir. Loud and clear.
Okay. So for the past 3 hours, many important, interesting, and miracles expectation that transpired during the second Misamis Occidental Coconut Industry Stakeholders Forum. So in a nutshell, on the PCA Administrator Office's end, through the PCA Head Executive Assistant, Major General Roy De Vesa, this Stakeholders Forum is being held to help the farmers improve the coconut industry through identifying issues and concerns and how it shall be addressed to fill in the gaps through intervention within the coconut industry value chain. PCA believes that people will go back to coconut as the people are going back to nature and demand would pick up once again. But certain issues has to be addressed. One is fragmented industry and limited funds. And these issues will be addressed by PCA through reviewing the challenges and our programs why the coconut industry is not improving. Number one, explore new market opportunities, strengthen the existing ones, and third, create a new coconut industry roadmap that would serve as guide whoever will assume PCA leadership and empower all the stakeholders, the farmers, LGUs, NGOs, and government agencies. And to address these challenges, PCA shall embark on internal and external transformation. For an internal transformation to be achieved, PCA shall focus on our organizational values, more honest and in our service to our stakeholders. Number two, improving the internal processes of projects implementation. And third, knowledge management, wherein computerized everything for transparency purposes. For external transformation, number one, consultative planning approach. Second, consolidation of our coconut produced and processed coconut products under our SCFOs and CANIP sites. Third, inclusive growth with all the stakeholders. Fourth, empowerment of all stakeholders and implementers. Fifth, turn or shift coconut industry to organic. And sixth, agribusinessizing coconut farming. In general, the office of the administrator, would focus on the efforts that would focus more on filling in the gaps within the coconut industry value chain, empowerment and inclusion of all the stakeholders towards a more sustainable and market-driven coconut industry. So, during the PCA Head Executive Assistant time with the stakeholders. 3 points were raised that would significantly affect positively Misamis Occidental's coconut industry as far as production sustainability is concerned, to support not only as old as time copra production, but also on the promising side of the industry, which is on processing and gearing towards the idea of agribusinessizing coconut farming as part of PCA transformation roadmap. So, naisgutan sa atong mabuot ng kongresista sa Distrito 1, Honorable Diego Jigs T, ang pagpadayon sa Peter Paul Philippine Corporation sa pagtukod og planta diha sa munisipalidad sa Plaridel para sa desiccated coconut and VCO processing nga sarang makahatag unya og dugang kompetisyon sa demand sa tibuok lubi dinhi sa atong probinsya, diin nalanta usab ni Congressman T ang importansya sa paghulit sa tanom sa atong mga karaan nga mga lubi nga gagmay og bunga nga sukwahi sa gikinahanglan sa Peter Paul Philippine Corporation nga medium ngadto sa large size nga mga lubi nga mosibo usab sa requirement sa ilang mga makinarya o ekipo nga pagagamiton unya para sa operasyon sa maong planta. Manghinaot kita nga pinagi sa atong administrator ma-address o masuportahan ang mga maayong plano ni Congressman T kay subay man usab kini sa mission vision sa atong buhatan sa PCA nga mao ang pagpangapod-apod sa libre nga mga maayong klase sa lubi ngadto sa atong mga mag-uuma para sa malahok tayon og mas hataas nga production sa atong kalubihan para sa umaabot. So this shall eventually become a partnership between PCA and District 1 under Congressman Diego T's very dynamic leadership, where a contiguous 20-hectare land shall be provided by him, and PCA on the other hand shall take on technical expertise and planting material provision. So kung makasugod na gani ang Peter Paul Philippines sa ilang operasyon, makahatag usab og dugang nga paglaom ang mga bunot unya na matapok nga sa lain nga bahin mao ang hatagan og lain nga focus sa atong usa pa ka stakeholder ang paglaom multipurpose cooperative para mapuslan kini. So isip kanhi naka-engage naman sa cocoa coir fiber export ang paglaom MPC, giplano pinagi sa madasigon og maptikon nga General Manager Godwin Handumon ang pag-revive sa nisgutang negosyo sa kooperatiba, ilabi na kay anaa na kanila ang mga makinarya makahatag og dako-dako nga produksyon isip pagtubag usab sa dako kay nga demand sa coconut fiber. Mao usab kini ang rason sa PCA Misamis Occidental ngano nga gibuhian og mga decorticating machines ang paglaom MPC sa milibayng pipila ka mga tuig isip preparasyon sa kanhi nga wala madayon nga planta sa Peter Paul. Like that with Congressman T, paglaom MPC's agribusinessizing venture would also be in partnership with PCA with the blessing of course from our beloved administrator. So lain usab nga bahin ang ikatulong nga punto mao ang gipresentar sa atong ever supportive nga partner ubos sa Provincial Agriculture Office si Pau Dennis Lipoldo ang plano ni Governor mahitungod sa pagtukod og medium scale virgin coconut oil processing plants para sa atong duha ka distrito sa probinsya for our local consumption purposes. This is very timely kay sumala pa sa atong initial results sa DOST 6 months experiments na ang VCO maka-decrease sa coronavirus count by 60 to 90% at low viral load. Not to mention the other health benefits derived from consuming it. So, ang plano ubos sa pamunuan sa atong gobernador, makadugang usab og lain pa nga kaugmaon sa atong mga mag-uuma sa lubi o gawas pa niini, mahatagan usab og alternatibo ang mga misamisnon og mga lumulupyo sa kasilinganang probinsya nga masiguro ang protektado sa nanghasik nga coronavirus ang atong mga katawan. The 3 points of the aforementioned stakeholders would be very beneficial towards the attainment of the PCA transformation roadmap as it would secure the coconut supply base by products utilization through processing, thus encourage agribusinessizing, and most of all, making sure that all the stakeholders are always in the pink of health as they are the ones to walk the talk as far as the PCA transformation roadmap is concerned. Dili usab nato kalimutan ang nagikinahanglan nato ang inclusive nga atong approach sa towards coconut industry development in walay stakeholders na mabilin, ilabi na ang atong mga indigenous people. Ang mga inisyatibo nga atong gipanghimo dili gayon magpalampuson kung wala ang kusog kaayong suporta sa atong mga partner agencies sama sa DTI anagad kanunay nga may alalay sa atong halos tanang mga inisyatibo sa PCA Misamis Occidental ubos sa atong madasigong ug mabtikon nga dynamic nga provincial director Jean Marie Tabukan o sa iyang mga staff. Ingon man usab ang Department of Agriculture sa pamunuan sa ever supportive PAO Dennis Leopoldo sa mga city agriculture officers atong tulo ka syudad o municipal agriculture officers sa kada munisipyo. Sa Department of Agrarian Reform sa pamunuan ni Paro Rolando Libitario Jr. Sa atong mga small coconut farmer organization, federated president officers ug sa mga small coconut farmer organizations sa kanang mga barangay sa atong matag munisipyo sa Misamis Occidental. And of course, sa paglaom MPC kan dynamic GM Godwin Handumon and staff and Congressman Diego Jixty for future sustainability of supply-based plan for the coconut industry of Misamis Occidental, which is market-driven. And also to the PCA Misamis Occidental staff and the PCA 10 regional office under RM Manuel G. Octobre and staff, especially kang PDO4 Danilo Untalan o PDO3 Ralph Marcel Estanio. Nga tungod kang Ralph Marcel Estanio ato yung nahimo kani nga forum nga successful kayo sa tanan. And the office of the PCA office of the administrator represented by of course the head of the executive assistant, which is Major General Roy Divisa. Okay, so sa tanan, this has been a very interesting and productive second Misamis Occidental Coconut Industry Stakeholders Forum. And as we depart, we should bear in mind to always walk the talk so that everything that has transpired today will not be put into waste. Thank you so much. Keep safe and may God bless us all. Thank you.
A round of applause, please. Yan, very nice. Thank you very much, no, Sir Lau, for that very comprehensive na synthesis and closing remarks. So, like any other event, Nagi pictorial. So, may I invite every participants to kindly turn on their video cams for documentation lang po. May tayo, groovy, no? Okay, ready na ba? Okay, first batch. Dalawa kasi yung pahina. Kasi marami tayong participants. First batch. Okay, 3, 2, 1. Okay, for the second batch.
Oh, may ilhan yun itong mga upaw anibong.
Sige, 3, 2, 1.
Double Nisty.
Ayan. Okay, thank you very much. Sir, again, Heya, on behalf of Philippine Coconut Authority, our regional manager, acting regional manager, Manuel Octobre, the key industry players of Misamis Occidental, our farmer leaders, our LGU, and our MAUs, no, lahat. Thank you very much for attending this and for gracing our stakeholders forum, no. Understandable na hindi tong last na meeting natin, no. May mga susunod pa. Kasi dina-develop pa natin yung industry plan natin. So once again, thank you very much, Heya, for attending this. For gracing us this event.
Thank you po.
Thank you.
Tulungan mo, Mr. General.
Apo.
Yeah.
Sige, hanap ko yung number.
Pakitawagan ang Peter Paul.
Okay,
Okay,
thank you.
With that said, that concludes our event. Thank you very much for watching and listening, and keep safe, everyone.
Thank you. Congrats, PCA.
Thank you, sir.
Believe ko. Pero
Ay,
hindi ko
taga-legit.
wala pa lunch, virtual na lang.
Virtual lang, sir.
Paabotan ni Juan.
Ni admin, umihiya, sir.
Happy. Update lang, Bong.
Yes, sir. Mga anak ako. Makikita ko ni ko. Mag-prepare mo ko sa akong development plan. Ako na po dahil i-present sa inyo.
Okay, Bong.
Sige, sir. Thank you, sir.
Noble Nisty. Nobs. Di ko madungog. Di ko kaan. Mute ka, mute. Mute ka, Nobs Nisty. Mute.
Ayaw sa ipa-off ni Ram. Ayaw sa ipa-off law.
Nobs Nisty.
Nobs. Oy, go ahead.
Kanang naay funeral rites ni Very Worshipful George Dolotalias onya alas 6.
Asa man himoon?
Gamalinda.
Gamalenda o Roqueta?
Oh.
Barong ta, barong?
Yes. We will
Unsa oras sa
sing the End Heavy. He's my brother.
Yeah. I will sing that song for our departed brother.
Sige,
Congratulations, Noble Sir. Gwapo kayo mong presentation kaniya.
Tangay ko ni Kuan. Mayan, istorya lang ba? Pawa sa kuan.